Germany of Iron and Blood. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. Unreasonable Trouble. His Royal Highness, Prince Oscar, and Marshal Earl Tirpitz have left His Majesty's office. A waiter reported to Crown Prince William. HMPH. Crown Prince William snorted coldly and left his office quickly. In the garden of the Imperial Palace, Qin Tian and Marshal Count Tirpitz were walking along the path, and the two met to return to Berlin. Your Highness, our Nassau-class battleships, Helgoland-class battleships and Blücher-class battlecruisers are all stronger than the British battleships and battlecruisers, which undoubtedly makes in terms of dreadnoughts, we have shortened the gap with the British. Marshal Earl Tirpitz is full of confidence in the future of the Navy. Yes, Your Excellency the Marshal. However, we cannot be overconfident. Although our capital ships are stronger than those of the British in terms of performance, we cannot deny that the British still have great strength in shipbuilding and warship design advantages, especially their financial resources and the large number of large shipyards. Once they find that their maritime supremacy is threatened, they will definitely go all out to build more warships. At that time, we will see the British Navy. Our capital ships are being launched into service one after another, and our high seas fleet may have to face the hordes of British capital ships. Qin Tian sighed. Britain's shipbuilding strength is number one in the world. Coupled with their deep pockets, the accumulation of the British Empire for hundreds of years is not something to talk about casually. Once their war machines are fully operational, the capital ships of the Royal Navy of the British Empire will inevitably be launched into the water like dumplings. At that time, the German Navy will inevitably be under tremendous pressure. The smile on the face of Marshal Earl Tirpitz also disappeared. He knew that what Qin Tian said was true. The war potential of the British is undoubtedly very terrifying. Although the British army is small and has low combat effectiveness, however, it has to be admitted that the British Navy's maritime supremacy is very difficult to shake. It will be very difficult to defeat the British Navy, Your Highness, although this road is extremely difficult. However, we have no possibility of retreating. We can only go on this road until we defeat the British, or we ourselves are smashed to pieces. Count Tirpitz the Marshal's eyes shone with determination. Qin Tian nodded. That's true, Your Excellency Marshal. Our enemies are very strong, and it is very difficult to defeat them. However, we will do our best to defeat them. Even if it ends in failure, at least we have worked hard for this, and we will not regret it in the future. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded repeatedly, looking at Qin Tian. His eyes were full of approval. He even thought in his heart that compared to Crown Prince William, Qin Tian is much stronger in terms of talent and character. If Qin Tian was the Crown Prince of the German Empire, it would obviously be more beneficial to the German Empire. Of course, this is just a thought. Qin Tian's right of succession is far behind. The first in line to the throne is Crown Prince William, which cannot be changed. This also made Marshal Earl Tirpitz only sigh in his heart. Your Excellency the Marshal, all our battleships now use oil-fired boilers and steam turbines. However, Germany is a country that is extremely short of oil. All the oil we consume needs to be imported from overseas. In peacetime, this is not the case. What's the problem? We can get enough oil from the US. But if the war breaks out, even if the Americans are willing to sell us the oil, the British will block our sea trade lines. At that time, if the fuel runs out, we will have no oil to use. All warships can only lie in the port. Qin Tian reminded. Your Highness, it is indeed possible. However, oil-fired boilers have great advantages over coal-fired boilers. Not only are they more powerful, but they can also further improve the endurance of warships. As for fuel, we can only store as much oil as possible before the war breaks out. Marshal Earl Tirpitz sighed. Who made Germany's resources so scarce? Almost everything except coal is lacking. Well, this is the only way. I hope our Navy can defeat the British on the battlefield. In this case, we won't be afraid of the British cutting off our maritime trade lines. Qin Tian nodded. At the same time, Qin Tian also plans to start storing oil to prepare for future wars. Oscar. At this moment, an angry voice sounded. Marshal Earl Tirpitz and Qin Tian, who were talking about something, couldn't help but be taken aback. Immediately, they saw the angry Crown Prince William walking towards them. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Both Qin Tian and Marshal Count Tirpitz took the initiative to say hello. After all, although Crown Prince William is a little less capable, he is the Crown Prince of the German Empire after all, and his identity and status are all there. HMPH. Oscar, do you still see me as the Crown Prince? Crown Prince William's voice was stern, as if Qin Tian was his sworn enemy. His ferocious face looked very ugly, and there was a fierce light in his eyes, as if he wanted to eat Qin Tian in one bite. His Royal Highness, what do you mean? Qin Tian frowned, not knowing what happened. He didn't seem to offend Crown Prince William, did he? But why did Crown Prince William treat him like this? Marshal Earl Tirpitz also frowned. His Royal Highness, is there some misunderstanding? HMPH. Your Excellency Marshal, what are you talking about? Could it be that your navy is starting to stand in line? Don't forget, I'm the Crown Prince of the German Empire. I'm the future Emperor of the German Empire. Crown Prince William even more furious. In his opinion, the speech made by Marshal Earl Tirpitz just now represented that the Navy's position has changed and it has begun to support Qin Tian. This is completely unacceptable to him. His Royal Highness, what nonsense are you talking about? When did the Navy have such a meaning? Count Tirpitz Marshal also looked very ugly. The army has never interfered with the succession of the royal family. This is a common practice, and it is also a red line that no one will cross. Marshal Earl Tirpitz thought that he did not act like that. However, Crown Prince William said such nonsense, which would be a great insult to the reputation of him and the Navy. Naturally, this old marshal who built the German Navy could not accept it. Chapter 52. Easy Storage Heart. Qin Tian understood the reason for his anger after hearing what Crown Prince William said. It turned out that the jealousy in Crown Prince William's heart broke out completely, thinking that Qin Tian posed a threat to his throne. That's why he lost his composure. After the battleship Dreadnought was launched, Qin Tian suddenly became a genius designer among the German royal family, which made his head even more haloed. Coupled with Qin Tian's outstanding performance in business, it has already made Qin Tian very dazzling. It can be said that, if Crown Prince William had not had the status of Crown Prince, he would have been eclipsed in front of Qin Tian. If you say that Crown Prince William is a generous person, maybe you don't think so. But it is a pity that Crown Prince William has always been a small-hearted person. Since becoming the Crown Prince, he has regarded the position of Emperor as his own. In order to further consolidate his succession to the throne and eliminate the threats from other younger brothers, he always tried every means to suppress them. But now, Crown Prince William discovered that Qin Tian's brilliance could not be concealed at all. After such a situation happened, Crown Prince William was naturally so annoyed that such a thing happened. HMPH. Oscar, don't think that I don't know what little schemes you have. Even if you have made a lot of money through those crooked ways. Even if you have a talent for shipbuilding. But so what? I'm the Empire. The Crown Prince has the first line of succession to the throne, and you will always be just an ordinary prince. No matter how talented you are, no matter how outstanding your performance is, it is still useless. There is only one future Emperor of the German Empire. It's me. Crown Prince William stared at Qin Tian viciously, speaking arrogantly. His behavior was not at all like the Crown Prince of an empire, but like a young man who thought his beloved was robbed. His behavior was really naive. Qin Tian and Marshal Count Tirpitz couldn't help shaking their heads. The performance of Crown Prince William was really terrible. This is the palace, and everyone's every move is in the eyes of William II. The performance of Crown Prince William will definitely let William II know. Marshal Count Tirpitz was also very dissatisfied with Crown Prince William's words. Qin Tian earned a lot of money, but he was willing to invest in armaments. This was no doubt to share the worries of the German Empire. Crown Prince William himself has no ability to make money, but is jealous of his talents here. Such an approach is undoubtedly very inappropriate. If it weren't for the noble status of Crown Prince William, Marshal Earl Tirpitz would definitely curse. Qin Tian was very moved in his heart, although Crown Prince William's performance was so unbearable. If it was in the Eastern world, maybe the throne would have been lost long ago. However, this is the Western world, and it is not so easy to abolish the Crown Prince of a country. If you say you don't want to replace Crown Prince William, it can only be against your will. It's just that Qin Tian knew that it was very difficult. In addition, he can't be too active in this matter, otherwise it will definitely have the opposite effect. The only thing he can do is to do his best as much as possible and perform better. Once Crown Prince William is really determined to abolish Crown Prince William, then the candidate to replace Crown Prince William will undoubtedly be him. Even if his inheritance rights are at the back, he can still do special things. At least, Qin Tian can guarantee that, if there is a change in the succession to the throne, the navy will definitely stand by his side. After all, he has made a big bet on the navy. On the one hand, it certainly helps the navy to develop its strength, so that the navy can win in the future. On the other hand, it might not mean to win over the navy. Next, Qin Tian plans to win over the army. There are also a lot of weapons suitable for the army, ranging from semi-automatic rifles, light machine guns, mortars, and grenades to large tanks, armored vehicles, and rocket launchers, all of which are sharp weapons that the army needs to equip. Perhaps due to technological factors, many of them cannot be developed, but as long as a part of the equipment is equipped, it is enough to further improve the combat effectiveness of the army. At that time, there will naturally be many people in the army who maintain a good impression of Qin Tian. No matter how bad it is, Qin Tian, who is rich and powerful, can also provide loans to the army and even donate a batch of weapons and equipment to the army. Use this to win over the army. Once William II intends to abolish Crown Prince William, as long as the army does not object, it will be the greatest help to Qin Tian. Of course, all of this is the biggest secret in Qin Tian's heart, and he absolutely cannot reveal it. His Royal Highness, you have misunderstood. You are my beloved eldest brother, and the throne belongs to you. I have no intention of coveting this. If you have misunderstood because of my recent actions, I'm deeply sorry for that. Sorry. Qin Tian looked innocent. HMPH. Oscar, this would be the best. Once I find out that you have unreasonable thoughts about something you shouldn't expect, I will make you pay the price. Crown Prince William grabbed Qin Tian's collar, threateningly. After leaving this threatening sentence, he walked away. Your Highness, are you alright? Marshal Earl Tirpitz asked with concern. I'm fine, Your Excellency Marshal, I'm making you laugh. Qin Tian smiled forcedly. This made Marshal Earl Tirpitz firmly believe that Qin Tian is more suitable to inherit the throne of the German Empire than Crown Prince William. If there is no chance, then forget it. Once given the opportunity, he would definitely express his support for Qin Tian with all his strength. What happened in the palace garden soon reached William II's eyes. Essen von Jonnerlet told William II of all this. After listening to the whole incident, William II's face was gloomy as if water could drip out. Prince is too narrow-minded and too jealous. I have warned him about this, but he has not improved at all. Is he really suitable for commanding the German Empire? Wilhelm II asked himself secretly in his heart. In comparison, although Qin Tian is a few years younger than Crown Prince William, he is more mature. Not only did he show outstanding talent in business, but at the same time, he didn't spend the money indiscriminately, but used the money to develop the military power of the empire. This is what an imperial prince should have. Perhaps, Oscar is more suitable than Prince to be the crown prince of the empire. William II said secretly. No one knows, because of the performance of Qin Tian and Crown Prince William. William II has already developed a heart of easy storage. Chapter 53, Crown Prince's Enmity. Essen, I don't understand why Prince became like this. You know, I always thought he was my most outstanding son before. William II's voice was full of helplessness. William II was undoubtedly very fond of the eldest son of Crown Prince William, and had always trained him as the heir of the empire. And Crown Prince William has performed very well in the past 2 decades, more outstanding than his peers. Among the many children of William II, he is also the best one. William II had high hopes for him. But recently, the performance of Crown Prince William has disappointed William II too much. He hoped that Crown Prince William would be tolerant towards his younger brothers. As an elder brother, one should act like an elder brother. Your Majesty, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince probably cannot accept that Prince Oscar suddenly becomes outstanding. After all, he has always been His Majesty's best son. Essen von Jonnerlet said expressionlessly. Of course, because Carol is now the general manager of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company and can get huge profits from it every year. Essen von Jonnerlet is naturally inclined to Qin Tian. But he couldn't show it. Otherwise, William II might not believe him anymore. As a playmate who grew up with William II, Essen von Jonnerlet, although he did not serve in the government, was able to exert a huge influence on William II. Therefore, his status is also very high. William II nodded. Yes, Essen. Prince's biggest problem is that he has no room for people, even if that person is his younger brother. However, once he thinks that he poses a threat to his crown prince status, he will suppress in every possible way. Before, he taunted his younger brothers. I turned a blind eye to it, and everything was just for the harmony of the royal family. But now, Prince is really disappointing me. Essen von Jonnerlet said nothing. Of course he could hear that William II was complaining, not asking for his opinion. What's more, it is not for him to express his opinion when it comes to the reserve of the empire. Essen, to be honest, Oscar's recent performance has indeed exceeded my expectations. Before, he was reticent, as if he was out of tune with the whole world. But now, he has shown outstanding performance in business and shipbuilding. He has an outstanding talent. If he is one of the most outstanding businessmen in the empire, it is estimated that not many people will understand it. What is even more rare is that he also has a deep understanding of the international situation and is willing to contribute his own strength to the empire. Yes, said, he is very outstanding. If he is my eldest son, I will definitely make him the crown prince without hesitation and become the heir to the imperial throne of the empire. But unfortunately, he is not the eldest son. The imperial succession law of the empire cannot be violated. The expression on William II's face was somewhat tangled. For every emperor, he probably hopes that his heir is the most outstanding. Your Majesty, Prince Oscar is indeed very outstanding. What's even more rare is that he is only 18 years old now. In the entire German Empire, there is probably no one more outstanding young man than him. Essen von Jonnerlet did not hesitate to praise his words. William II nodded in agreement. He also thought that Qin Tian was so outstanding that he couldn't find another one in the whole of Germany. Essen, you go and tell Prince. I don't want such a thing to happen again. Otherwise, even if he is the crown prince of the empire, I will make him pay the price. Although, the difficulty of abolishing a crown prince is abolition, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. William II said coldly. Obviously, his patience with Crown Prince William is almost reaching its limit. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonnerlet nodded, and of course he was willing to carry out this order. After coming out of William II's office, Essen von Jonnerlet warned Crown Prince William according to William II's order. Crown Prince William's face turned livid immediately, and his face was completely distorted by anger. Why? Why did the father treat me like this? I'm his eldest son, the crown prince of the empire, and the first heir to the throne. That guy Oscar is just a **** luck. Now the father, but why did you send someone to warn you? Crown Prince William was furious. Proud of him, facing such a situation, he couldn't accept it at all. This is tantamount to trampling on his dignity. Boom. A precious vase fell to the ground and became shattered. Afterwards, everything on the desk fell to the ground, and the entire office quickly became a mess. Oscar, you really angered me. I will not let you go. Even if you are my brother, I will make your life miserable. After I inherit the throne of the empire, let's see how I deal with you. Crown Prince William's eyes were full of hatred and fierceness. Prince, what's the matter? At this moment, Crown Prince William's new wife Cecilia ran in. Cecilia is the daughter of Friedrich Franz III, Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin, Germany. They were married on June 6, 1905, and Cecilia is now 4 months pregnant. Facing his wife, the ferocity on Crown Prince William's face disappeared. My dear, I'm sorry to disturb you. Crown Prince William apologized. Prince, what happened? You are so angry. Cecilia asked. It's not because of that guy Oscar. Father is too partial to that guy. For him, he actually sent Essen to warn me. This is simply a shame. Crown Prince William said. Cecilia knew about Crown Prince William's hostility to Qin Tian. She also knew that Qin Tian's performance was too good, and he was a huge threat to Crown Prince William's position as Crown Prince. Prince, no matter how good Oscar is, you are the Crown Prince of the Empire. In the future, the Empire will belong to you. There is no need for you to care about Oscar. Cecilia said. Crown Prince William nodded. Yes, I'm the Crown Prince of the Empire. No matter how good Oscar is, he is just a prince. However, even though he said so, but how could Crown Prince William not care? The more outstanding Qin Tian was, and the more praise he received from others, the more Crown Prince William hated him. These hatreds accumulate little by little, and they will become monstrous mobile phones in the future. Chapter 54, Deutsche Energy Company. Your Highness, congratulations. His Majesty the Emperor is very satisfied with your recent performance. In the office of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company, Karl von Jonnerud smiled. Oh, did Mr. Jonnerud tell you this? Qin Tian asked. Well, His Majesty the Emperor was very dissatisfied with His Highness the Crown Prince's actions, and specially sent my father to warn His Highness the Crown Prince. According to my father, His Majesty's patience with His Highness the Crown Prince is almost reaching its limit. Carol wished that Qin Tian could replace Crown Prince William and become the Crown Prince of the German Empire, the future Emperor of the Empire. This will be of great benefit to him, and even the entire Jonnerud family. As Qin Tian's best friend, if Qin Tian becomes the Emperor of the German Empire, then he can completely walk across the whole of Germany. The recent performance of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince is really substandard. Qin Tian shook his head. HMPH. If he wasn't the eldest son, he wouldn't be the Crown Prince at all. In my opinion, His Highness should be the Crown Prince, Karl said. Carol, don't say such things in the future. Whether His Highness the Crown Prince is qualified to become the Crown Prince of the Empire is not for us to decide. Qin Tian shook his head. If a man has no ambition, what is the difference between him and a salted fish? And Qin Tian, of course, didn't want to be a salted fish either. Now that he was reborn into this world, he naturally wanted to make some great achievements. If he can become the Emperor of the German Empire, it will undoubtedly be of great help to realize his dream. However, Qin Tian knew that before he truly possessed this qualification, he had to completely hide his ambition in his heart. Karl smiled and said nothing more. Regarding Qin Tian's thoughts, although he was not clear about it, he could more or less guess it. Now Qin Tian's industry has grown very large. The Deutsche Welfare Lottery has been successful in the German Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Kingdom of Italy. In the US market, it has gradually gained a firm foothold. This year, we will develop the markets of Britain, France and other countries. It can be said that in the lottery industry, welfare lottery companies have become giants. Deutschland Shipyard has not been established for a long time, but now it has received a large number of orders from the Navy. This has made Deutsche Shipyard about to become the largest shipyard in Germany. The newly established Deutsche Engine Manufacturing Company has world-leading technologies in steam turbines and diesel engines. In terms of gasoline engines, it is also at a world-class level. Although the company's performance is not big now, Carl knows that the company's future is immeasurable. What's more, Carol knows that Qin Tian is a restless person, and he will start a new company soon. Qin Tian, who is so successful in business, will inevitably have new demands in terms of power, after accumulating a huge amount of wealth. Carol is almost certain that the reason why Qin Tian went to great lengths to help the Navy develop its military strength is certainly to enhance the military strength of the Empire and help the Empire win in future wars. But more, I'm afraid it means taking the opportunity to win over the army and prepare for the future. Of course, Carol will not tell others about this. He also counted on Qin Tian becoming the Crown Prince or even the Emperor. His status would rise accordingly. With Qin Tian's identity, it is impossible to personally control these enterprises. At that time, there must be an agent to control these enterprises, and he is undoubtedly the most suitable candidate. Once Qin Tian's enterprises are merged into a huge enterprise group, it will inevitably become one of the largest enterprise groups in Germany. Thinking of becoming the helm of a huge business empire, Karl's heart is also burning. Karl, do you have any news about the person I asked you to pay attention to? Qin Tian asked. Your Highness, I have asked people to pay attention to it. There should be news soon. Although Germany lacks oil, it should not be difficult to find corporate talents who manage oil exploration and operations. Carl said. Qin Tian nodded. Well, let's speed up the progress and choose a suitable person. Find a time and register Deutsche Energy Company. Our energy development plan needs to be launched. Yes, Your Highness. Carol nodded. The next day, Carol went to register Deutsche Energy Company, which is mainly engaged in oil exploration, smelting and sales. At the same time, Carl asked the headhunters to carefully select several talents in this field and began to accept Qin Tian's interviews. After some examinations, Qin Tian selected a young man in his 30s named Moritz. The reason why he was chosen as the general manager of Deutsche Energy Company is because this young man is relatively aggressive and has a deep understanding of the importance of the future of oil. In many respects, he even coincides with Qin Tian, making Qin Tian I appreciate it very much, Mr. Moritz. The Deutsche Energy Company has just been established, and the recruitment of internal organizations and personnel needs to be carried out. I hope that you can take charge of this work. Is there any problem with the formation of the Deutsche Energy Company within 3 months? Qin God asked. Your Highness, as long as there are enough funds, this is not a problem. Moritz was very confident. In terms of funds, Mr. Moritz doesn't have to worry at all. Deutsche Welfare Lottery will provide sufficient financial support for Deutsche Energy. The first batch of 10 million marks will be transferred to the company's account soon. King God said. Yes, Your Highness. Moritz nodded. After the establishment of the company, we immediately began to select suitable places to build oil refineries and oil storage facilities on the northern coast. Especially oil storage facilities, we must build as many as possible. It is best to increase our crude oil reserves to 2 million tons or more. Qin Tian said. 2 million tons of crude oil is nothing in later generations. But in this day and age, that's certainly a lot. This is especially true when the utility of oil has not yet been fully revealed. Your Highness, to whom do we sell so much oil? In this case, the company will suffer losses. Moritz couldn't help reminding. I know, Mr. Moritz. However, in many cases, accounts cannot be calculated like this. Most of our crude oil will be used as strategic reserves. Qin Tian said. Moritz is the general manager of Deutsche Energy, and he will mainly complete the future oil strategy. Therefore, Qin Tian did not intend to hide some confidential issues. Of course, it was a matter of German secrets, and if Moritz dared to leak it, he would definitely die without a burial. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. Oil Strategy. Mr. Moritz, there is one thing that I think I must tell you in advance. That is, the large amount of crude oil we reserve is not entirely for our consumption. A large part of it needs to be reserved for the government. Qin Tian said with a look on his face. Said seriously. Reserve for the government? Moritz was a little confused. Now Germany's consumption of oil is not high, so there is absolutely no need for the government to reserve so much oil. After all, the construction of oil storage facilities and the purchase of crude oil require a lot of money. Mr. Moritz, what I'm going to say next involves the military secrets of the empire, so I hope you can keep it a secret, and you must not leak a word. Qin Tian looked serious. Your Highness, I swear in the name of God, I will definitely keep it a secret. Moritz also looked serious. Mr. Moritz, the capital ships currently being built by the Imperial Navy, as well as many subsequent warships, use oil-fired boilers. Therefore, the Imperial Navy's consumption of oil will increase explosively. However, the Empire is another extremely. We are a country that lacks oil, so we must reserve enough oil before the war. Otherwise, once the war breaks out, and the Empire's maritime trade lines are cut off, and we can no longer get oil from overseas, the consequences will be very serious. The capital ships we spend huge sums of money on will become scrap iron lying in the port and unable to sail to the sea. Therefore, we must try our best to store enough oil before the war breaks out. Qin Tian looked solemn. Moritz was stunned when he heard the news. Obviously, he never expected that Qin Tian's request to reserve more oil was actually for this reason. Of course, he also knew that this was definitely a military secret. Qin Tian was able to be honest with him, which undoubtedly showed his trust in him, and he was very moved. After all, he has just joined Qin Tian's team. The reason why Qin Tian revealed this news to Moritz was that apart from his trust in him, he also specially sent someone to investigate him. Your Highness, please rest assured, I will strictly keep the secret, Moritz said. As a German, he certainly hopes that Germany can win in future wars. Since Qin Tian told him these military secrets, of course he had to keep them secret. Qin Tian nodded. Moritz realizes that, although the navy and the will also store oil secretly, however, in order to avoid the shortage of crude oil when a war breaks out in the future, we also need to store crude oil. 2 million tons of crude oil is just a bottom line. If you can, save as much as you can. Yes, Your Highness. Moritz nodded. However, storing large amounts of crude oil costs a lot of money. But Qin Tian is not short of money at all. The German welfare lottery company is continuously creating huge wealth. This ensures that Qin Tian can start to expand in various fields. What's more, the current oil price is very low. A barrel of oil is less than $1, and even if it is calculated as freight, it is estimated to be only about $1. The exchange rate between marks and US dollars is 4 to 1. That is, $1 is equal to 4 marks. A barrel of oil is only worth 4 marks, and a ton of oil plus other costs is only about 30 marks. Qin Tian only needs to spend 60 million marks to store 2 million tons of oil. Mr. Moritz, our company also needs to have the ability to extract oil. For this, you need to find a way to prepare technical reserves and recruit relevant personnel. Qin Tian ordered. Yes, Your Highness. Germany is seriously short of oil. Although the coastal shoals in the north have some oil, it is difficult to exploit it with the current technical conditions. Besides, such a little oil, even if it is extracted, cannot withstand large-scale consumption, so it is better to keep it in the ground. Your Highness, do we need to participate in overseas oil field exploitation? Moritz asked. He knew that there was no oil in Germany, and Qin Tian asked Dutch Energy Company to have the ability to extract oil, so he must go to overseas oil fields. The current major oil mining country is the United States, whose annual oil extraction accounts for 60% of the world's oil extraction. The Dutch East Indies, Baku in Russia and Romania also have oil production. In the Middle East, the largest oil mining area in later generations, only the British are conducting oil exploration in the Kingdom of Iran. Calculating the time, the first oil well that produces oil will not be able to be drilled until next year, although almost all overseas oil fields are controlled by countries such as Britain, France and the United States. However, we may not have no chance at all. Prepare first, and if there is an opportunity, we can try it immediately. Qin Tian's oil resources for future generations. The distribution is naturally known roughly, but now, of course, he couldn't speak out. Compared with the United Kingdom, Germany's overseas power is far behind. Once known by the British, Germany will not get those oil fields at all. The safety of these oil fields can only be ensured after Germany defeats Britain and has the world's most powerful navy. Yes, Your Highness. Moritz nodded. He knew that Qin Tian was well prepared. After Moritz left, Qin Tian's eyes fell on the map hanging on the wall. In Qin Tian's eyes, many places are resource treasure houses, especially the Middle East, where there are enough reserves for Germany to use for more than 100 years. If Germany can defeat Britain in this world war and take the Middle East over, then Germany would not have to worry about energy shortages. Of course, the prerequisite for obtaining oil in the Middle East is to defeat the British in this war. Otherwise, everything is empty talk. The oil in the Middle East cannot be moved before the war. We can only find a way from other places. Qin Tian secretly thought. Libya is also rich in oil resources. Moreover, no one knows that there is oil there. If Libya's oil resources can be snatched, it will be a huge boost for us to reserve enough oil. Now, Libya is in the hands of the Ottoman Turkish Empire. However, Italy is eyeing this piece of land covetously. Qin Tian knew that the Italians would attack Libya soon. While the Italian army was rubbish, the army of the decaying Ottoman Empire was not much better. In the end, Italy won the war and got the land. If, as an ally, Germany provides limited support to the Italians, then, after the end of the war, what Germany wants to acquire Libya is to have exploration and mining rights, which does not seem to be a big problem. Chapter 56, National Petroleum Reserve. Berlin Palace, the office of Wilhelm II. The imperial meeting is underway. Kaiser Wilhelm II, Prime Minister Bernhard von Bülow, Minister of Foreign Affairs von Kidron-Wacht, Chief of the General Staff Moltke, Minister of War von Falkenhayn, Minister of the Navy Turpey Marshal LCI, Crown Prince William, and Qin Tian all attended this meeting. It is very normal for people other than Qin Tian to attend the imperial meeting. After all, these are important ministers of the empire. Crown Prince William is the heir to the imperial throne, and is eligible to attend the imperial meeting as a prince. However, Qin Tian is just an ordinary prince. Although Qin Tian has shown outstanding talents in the fields of commerce and shipbuilding, this still cannot change his status as just an ordinary prince. The reason why Qin Tian is qualified to attend this imperial meeting is because he proposed the main topic this time. Another aspect is probably his keen understanding of the world pattern. Even so, Crown Prince William looked at Qin Tian with hostility. Obviously, Crown Prince William thought that this was Qin Tian's further attack on the reserve position, and this had already seriously threatened his status. This is absolutely unacceptable to Crown Prince William. Damn. Oscar, this hypocritical and shameless guy, he really wants to compete with me for the throne. He is just an ordinary prince, and the succession to the throne is far behind. How dare he? Crown Prince William said, very angry. He almost wanted to question Qin Tian on the spot. If it wasn't for the wrong occasion and William II's special warning to him, I am afraid he would have lost his temper on the spot. Everyone must be aware of the reason for holding the imperial meeting today. That is Prince Oscar's intention. We need to build a national oil reserve in the name of the country and the government. Please express your opinions on this. William II, the world said expressionlessly. His Royal Highness Prince Oscar, now Germany's oil consumption is very small, and we can easily obtain oil from the Americans. Is it necessary to spend huge sums of money to build a national oil reserve? Chief of General Staff Zhao was the first to ask. After all, buying oil, then building storage facilities, and building refineries, etc., all require large sums of money. This amount of money is at least calculated in the hundreds of millions of marks. When Germany's financial pressure is already very high, and its military expenditure is still seriously insufficient, there is no need to invest so much money in oil reserves. If you have this spare money, it is better to invest in the upgrading of armaments. Only in this way can the combat effectiveness of the German army be further strengthened and the odds of winning future wars increased. Your Excellency Chief of Staff, it is very necessary to establish a national oil reserve. Although Germany's oil consumption is still relatively small, however, this number will skyrocket soon. Especially the military's oil consumption will be even greater, constantly rising. Because of the performance advantages of oil-fired boilers and steam turbines, I have suggested that the Navy's future new capital ships and a series of warships built in the future will all use oil-fired boilers and steam turbines. This will increase oil consumption a lot. In order to ensure the combat effectiveness of the Navy, it is also necessary to establish oil reserves. Qin Tian explained. His Royal Highness Prince Oscar is right. The Navy's warships will all use oil-fired boilers and steam turbines. This will make us consume more oil. There are no oil fields in Germany, and all oil needs to be imported overseas. In peace it may not be a problem during the period. However, once the war breaks out, our overseas transportation lines may be completely cut off. Before the Navy defeats the British, our oil consumption needs to use oil reserves. Therefore, the establishment of a national oil reserve, which is very necessary for us to win wars in the future. Marshal Earl Tirpitz said, Your Excellency Marshal, the Navy decided to adopt oil-fired boilers and steam turbines on a large scale, based on someone's one-sided words without careful argumentation. Isn't it too arbitrary? What's more, Germany lacks oil, but it doesn't lack coal. In my opinion, even if oil-fired boilers really have advantages in performance, it is not advisable to give up coal-fired boilers. After all, we use coal-fired boilers, at least we don't have to worry about being stuck by the enemy. William the Crown Prince jumped out, apparently thinking that it was too arbitrary for the Navy to replace the oil-fired boilers and steam turbines. But in reality, Qin Tian was blamed. After realizing Qin Tian's threat to his status, Crown Prince William began to use various methods to suppress Qin Tian. No, Your Royal Highness. The Navy's decide to adopt oil-fired boilers and steam turbines is not without proof. Although we don't have much experience in oil-fired boilers and steam turbines. However, after testing, it has surfaced that oil-fired boilers and steam turbines, a combination of turbines, is much better than the coal-fired boilers and steam engines we used before. This can greatly improve the performance of the ships of the Imperial Navy. Marshal Earl Tirpitz refuted on the spot. Crown Prince William froze for a moment, and his face became very ugly. In his opinion, the Navy clearly expressed its support for Qin Tian. Damn Tirpitz, does he want to break the military's practice of not interfering with the succession of the throne? Crown Prince William was very annoyed. His Royal Highness, how much money will be invested in the construction of oil reserves? Prime Minister Bernhard von Gillow asked. If the reserve is based on the scale of 2 million tons, it will cost about 120 million marks. Qin Tian said. Prime Minister Bernhard von Gillow frowned suddenly. This is a lot of money, Oscar. Don't you know that the Empire's financial pressure is very heavy now? 120 million marks is enough to build 3 battleships. Not everyone has a huge personal wealth like you. The Prince of the Royal Family should repay the country and the society. Crown Prince William began to make trouble on purpose. Marshal Earl Tirpitz came forward to refute him before making it impossible for him to set the fire on Qin Tian. Now, Crown Prince William directly opened fire on Qin Tian. His Royal Highness, I have made a lot of money through legal channels, so it seems to be no problem, right? Besides, how do you know that I didn't repay the country? Qin Tian sneered. Chapter 57, Motor Vehicle Manufacturing Company. It seems that Prince regards me as an enemy of his succession to the throne. Qin Tian felt the deep hostility of Crown Prince William towards him. However, Qin Tian didn't care. Everything he did was to enhance Germany's war strength so that Germany could win in future wars. It would be great if he could become the Crown Prince of Germany. Even if he can't be Crown Prince, he doesn't care. Anyway, he remembered that William II would live a long time. Even if you are the Crown Prince, you have to be a few decades. Besides, William II was not a fatuous monarch, so naturally he would not let Crown Prince William mess around. Of course, Crown Prince William's repeated attacks on him also made Qin Tian very annoyed. The so-called clay figurines are still angry, let alone Qin Tian. Blindly forbearance will only make Crown Prince William push himself further. His Royal Highness, the proceeds of each issue of the German Welfare Lottery Company are distributed to the royal family and used for social welfare undertakings. In addition, I donated a battleship to the Navy in my own name. I think these are enough to show my return to the Empire. Your groundless accusation is a bit too unfair to me. Qin Tian showed neither humble nor overbearing. You. Crown Prince William was furious, but he didn't know how to refute. Qin Tian did make a lot of money, but he did not forget to give back to the society. In addition, the royal family also got a lot of benefits because of this. Therefore, it is obviously inappropriate for Crown Prince William to accuse Qin Tian of this aspect. Okay, Prince Oscar. Stop arguing. Prince Oscar has paid back more to the Empire than you can imagine. So, don't hold on to it. In the future, don't take it again. Let's talk about it. William II said with a cold face. Yes, father. Both Qin Tian and Crown Prince William had to stop arguing. However, seeing the look in Crown Prince William's eyes, he was obviously very unwilling. Could it be possible? Did that guy Oscar provide more support to the Navy? Damn, his financial resources are too amazing. In this regard, there is no comparison between me and him. Crown Prince William was very angry. Father, I have just established an energy company. In the next 5 years, my energy company will find a way to store 2 million tons of oil in Germany. However, once the war breaks out, whether 2 million tons of oil will be enough depends on the situation. It's hard to say. Qin Tian said. A capital ship often needs to load thousands of tons of fuel when it goes to sea. With the future scale of the German Navy, if all the warships are filled with fuel, it will probably require tens of thousands of tons. In this case, 2 million tons of oil will not last long at all. King William II nodded. Qin Tian was willing to form an energy company by himself to contribute to the country's oil security plan, which made him very satisfied. Your Majesty, although the Navy's current military expenditure is very tight, but in order not to be restricted in the future, the Navy can find a way to reserve 1 million tons of oil for wartime needs. Marshal Earl Tirpitz also said, very well. In this case, the government is trying to establish a reserve of 2 million tons of oil. Once a war breaks out, 5 million tons of oil should be enough to support us until we win the war. William II said. Yes, Your Majesty. Prime Minister Bernhard von Gillow nodded. Now that William II has made a decision, he has no choice but to say no more 120 million marks. Although it is a large expense, if it is divided into several years, it will not cause too much pressure. Damn it, Oscar's proposal has been approved again. If this continues, won't his influence in state affairs become bigger and bigger? No, it absolutely cannot go on like this. Crown Prince William secretly said swear. He clenched his hands into fists so tightly that his nails were almost digging into the flesh. It can be seen how angry he is in his heart. However, Crown Prince William has no way to deal with Qin Tian. Compared to Qin Tian, Crown Prince William was too weak in every aspect. If it wasn't for the extra layer of aura of Crown Prince status, he would be nothing at all. And Qin Tian has no time to take care of this at all. He is calculating whether the reserve of 5 million tons of oil is enough. 5 million tons of oil seems like a lot. If the war can end within 2 years, it should be almost the same. If it takes longer, it will be very difficult to say. The key lies in whether the Navy can defeat Britain in a short time, people. If you can win, then everything will be easy to talk about. If it takes longer, it will be troublesome. Qin Tian thought secretly. What's more, Qin Tian plans to promote the development of motor vehicles in Germany next. In this case, the fuel consumption may be further increased. At that time, once the motor vehicle market is developed, the consumption of oil will be really explosive. Of course, once a war breaks out, fuel purchases can be controlled and restricted. It's just that doing so will cause the people to delay the war. Unless it is absolutely necessary, it is best not to use this method. After the Italians take over Libya, they will find a way to extract what is there and ship it to the country on a large scale. In this way, the oil reserves may be further increased, thereby alleviating the domestic oil shortage pressure. The world has made up its mind. Of course, Qin Tian also notes that once the Libyan oil is extracted in advance, it will inevitably make other countries speed up the exploration and exploitation of oil in North Africa. Moreover, after the outbreak of the war, Libya's oil fields will also become the primary target of attacks by the British and French. But Qin Tian didn't care at all. As long as Germany can win the war, no matter how much it loses, it can be recovered after the war is over. Therefore, winning the war is the most fundamental and most important thing. This is the basis of everything. Qin Tian did so many things mainly for this reason. In May 1906, Qin Tian instructed Karl von Jonnereit to establish a company named Deutsche Motor Vehicle Manufacturing Company in Berlin. However, the business is nothing more than a shell. Qin Tian didn't want to build a motor vehicle factory from scratch. That would be too troublesome. He intends to use the method of acquisition to enable Deutsche Motor Vehicle Manufacturing Company to quickly open up the field of motor vehicle manufacturing in Germany and even the entire Europe. After all, it is only after the establishment of Motor Vehicle Manufacturing Company that it is possible to manufacture all kinds of military vehicles, even tanks and armored vehicles. Chapter 58, Takeover of Daimler. Your Highness, the time has been made. Paul Daimler of Daimler AG, Mr. William Maybach and his son Mr. Karol Maybach, and Mr. Emil Jelinek, the main investor of Daimler AG, are already waiting for you in Stuttgart. Karl von Jonnereit said to Qin Tian. Well, get ready, let's set off for Stuttgart right away. Qin Tian nodded. Okay, Your Royal Highness. With the success of Qin Tian's series of enterprises, and at the same time, William II's perception of Qin Tian is getting better and better. Karl von Jonnerud even believes that Qin Tian will definitely become the emperor of the German Empire in the future. Although, it seems that this possibility is still very small. But Karl has always thought it was possible. Qin Tian went to Stuttgart this time for the purpose of acquiring Daimler. Although, Daimler and Mercedes-Benz are both big companies in the German auto industry. But neither company was that big at a time when cars were a luxury that only a select few could afford. Moreover, the situation is also worrying. In this era, except for Qin Tian, probably no one would have imagined how bright the development prospects of the automobile industry would be. After Qin Tian established the Deutsche Motor Vehicle Manufacturing Company, he wanted to take Daimler or Mercedes-Benz into his pocket. In this way, the Deutsche Motor Vehicle Manufacturing Company could quickly have the ability to manufacture various motor vehicles. Coupled with Qin Tian's financial support and Qin Tian's grasp of the future development of the auto industry, they will surely achieve great success in the auto industry. The reason why Qin Tian put the acquisition target on Daimler instead of Mercedes-Benz. The main reason is that Mercedes-Benz is developing better than Daimler, and it is not easy to acquire it. Daimler is different. After Mr. Daimler died, Daimler began to decline. Although their Phoenix car is very good performance and good looking, but in the competition with Mercedes-Benz, it is still at a disadvantage. The company's losses are also on the rise. Under such circumstances, the possibility of Qin Tian acquiring Daimler is undoubtedly much greater. In addition to this, there is another reason, that is, Daimler owns the patent for motorcycles. Motorcycles are easier and cheaper to manufacture than cars. Qin Tian also planned to produce heavy-duty military motorcycles and three-wheeled motorcycles in order to obtain orders from the army. In the future, jeeps and military trucks will be produced one after another, and armored vehicles and tanks will be developed on this basis. Once these military vehicles are developed and equipped with troops, this will further enhance the combat effectiveness of the German army. Originally, the combat effectiveness of the German army was regarded as the number one in Europe and even in the world. With the addition of these weapons, in the future World War, the possibility of winning will be even higher. The headquarters of Daimler AG is located in Stuttgart. Compared with Mercedes-Benz, which has become a behemoth in the field of motor vehicle manufacturing in the world, Daimler AG is undoubtedly much smaller. On May 12, 1906, Qin Tian and Carol arrived at Daimler in Stuttgart. A group of shareholders and executives of Daimler had already received the news, and they were already waiting for Qin Tian at the gate of the company. Is this Daimler? In the future, after merging with Mercedes-Benz, it will become the world's top car manufacturer. Qin Tian stood outside the gate of Daimler, looking at the building with a small factory building and dilapidated three-story office building of the company. His Royal Highness, welcome to Stuttgart. It is an honor for our entire company that you can come to Daimler. Paul Daimler, general manager of the company, said. As the eldest son of the late Mr. Daimler, Paul Daimler inherited most of Mr. Daimler's company shares. Mr. Daimler, hello. I have always admired Mr. Gottlieb Daimler, and I have always believed that the cars he invented, as well as other patents, are of epoch-making significance. Very hurry up, these inventions will shine, Qin Tian said with reverence. Hearing Qin Tian's admiration for his father, Paul Daimler's face was filled with a smile. Next, Qin Tian shook hands with other senior executives of Daimler AG. Led by Paul Daimler, Qin Tian made a brief visit to Daimler. I have to admit that the current automobile manufacturing industry is still very primitive. It has nothing to do with the high degree of automation in the future. Daimler's Phoenix car, in the eyes of people of this era, may look pretty good. However, in Qin Tian's eyes, it was too ugly. After the tour, Qin Tian went to the meeting room with Paul Daimler and others. As for Qin Tian's intention, Paul Daimler and others more or less guessed it. After all, although Qin Tian is young, he has already become a business legend in Germany and even Europe. The Deutsche Welfare Lottery company founded by Qin Tian has become the most profitable company in Germany. When Daimler is in trouble, if Qin Tian wants to acquire Daimler, they have no objection. Everyone, you should have guessed my reason for coming, right? Qin Tian said with a smile. Your Highness, do you want to take a stake in Daimler? Paul Daimler asked. That's pretty much what it means. However, I want to completely acquire Daimler. At least 80% of the shares must be acquired, Qin Tian said. Complete acquisition? The faces of several people in Daimler suddenly changed. It can be said that Daimler is entirely their brainchild. If it is completely acquired by Qin Tian, is Daimler still their Daimler? Everyone is very aware of the current situation of Daimler-old rival Mercedes-Benz is developing rapidly, but Daimler is stagnant. The market share is also constantly being eroded by Mercedes-Benz. It is estimated that before long, there will be no place for Daimler in the automotive market. Although what Qin Tian said was a bit exaggerated. But for several people in Daimler, everything seems to be developing in the direction Qin Tian said. This is undoubtedly a disaster for them. After I bought Daimler, you are still the managers of the company. Mr. Daimler, you are still the general manager of Daimler. Mr. Maybach, you are still in charge of the company's new product development. Yeah, Mr. Leinker, your old investments can turn into a lot of money. Chapter 59. First product. His Royal Highness, how much money do you plan to pay for the acquisition of Daimler? Emil Jelinek asked. As the main investor of Daimler AG, he owns a lot of shares. At the same time, he is also the last person to see Daimler's continuous losses. It would be best if Daimler could be sold while it was still worth a lot of money. 50 million marks. This valuation has far exceeded the current value of Daimler, Qin Tian said. Anyway, he is not short of money now, and he hopes that when Daimler is acquired, these high-level executives can continue to work for him. Under such circumstances, what does it matter if you pay a little more? 50 million marks. Emil Jelinek was very satisfied with this offer that had exceeded his expectations. This is already dozens of times his original investment. Paul, Daimler and William Maybach looked at each other. They both know that Emil Jelinek has been tempted by this offer, although they are somewhat reluctant to sell Daimler, but they knew it was inevitable. His Royal Highness, I want to keep the company's shares. According to the valuation of 50 million, I don't know how much I can keep, William Maybach asked. His vision is obviously longer than that of Emil Jelinek. In his opinion, since Qin Tian can buy Daimler with a huge sum of money, the future of the company will be very brilliant. Retaining shares in the company is far more cost-effective than exchanging them for money now. His Royal Highness, I also intend to retain the company's shares. Retention? Daimler also expressed its position. Qin Tian nodded, but did not answer immediately, but looked at Emil Jelinek. Mr. Jelinek, have you considered it? Qin Tian asked. Your Highness, I have considered it, and I'm willing to sell the shares in my hand to you. Emil Jelinek said. Okay, Mr. Jelinek. After signing the share transfer agreement, I will write you a check immediately. Qin Tian nodded in satisfaction. Mr. Maybach, Mr. Daimler, I will give you a 5% stake each. What do you think? Qin Tian said. William Maybach and Paul Daimler couldn't help frowning. 5% of the shares seems too little. You, too. After the acquisition of Daimler, I will invest another 50 million marks to upgrade the company's production line and develop new products. The future Daimler will become a company engaged in motorcycles, cars, a motor vehicle manufacturing company mainly engaged in trucks and military combat vehicles of the company will be limitless. Qin Tian further explained. After listening to Qin Tian's explanation, William Maybach and Paul Daimler nodded, approving Qin Tian's plan. If Daimler can really develop as Qin Tian said, even if they only have 5% of the company's shares, it will be a huge fortune, far exceeding its current value. Emil Jelinek also heard Qin Tian's words, which made him regret selling the company's shares. He opened his mouth, but in the end he didn't say the words of regret. Qin Tian was the prince of the German Empire, and at the same time, possessed wealth beyond rivals. Once he repents, it will definitely anger Qin Tian. At that time, he may only have to leave Germany. This is not what Emil Jelinek wants to see. After lunch, Emil Jelinek signed the share transfer agreement, took his leave after taking the check, and left the company. Paul, Daimler and William Maybach, two people, also signed the agreement to change the company's shares. In the next week, Qin Tian will transfer 50 million marks to the company's account to upgrade the company's production line and increase the research and development of new products. Now, Qin Tian has officially become the owner of Daimler. He, who owns 90% of the company's shares, can fully implement his will in this company. Mr. Daimler, Mr. Maybach, I have a product here. I hope that in the next time, the company can do its best to develop it in the shortest possible time, and then put it on the market. Qin Tian said in the office. After becoming the company's owner, he also has an office in Daimler AG. Qin Tian took out a piece of paper from his suitcase, on which were the designs of two motorcycles. Compared with the crude motorcycles of today, the appearance of these two motorcycles is undoubtedly much more beautiful. Today's motorcycles are still made of wood. And, in order to maintain the balance, when it is forbidden, there are two small wheels, which makes the motorcycle have four wheels. In addition, the current motorcycles are very ugly in appearance, and have no shock absorption equipment. This makes the current motorcycle almost no market. Paul Daimler and William Maybach were immediately shocked by the motorcycle on the paper. "God, is this a motorcycle? These are clearly two works of art." Paul Daimler was shocked. "It's unbelievable that a motorcycle can be designed like this." William Maybach also looked shocked and dropped his jaw. Qin Tian took out two motorcycle designs. One is a men's motorcycle. One is a women's motorcycle. The men's motorcycle has a rough, streamlined body and a steel body, which looks very mighty. Women's motorcycles are much smaller and exquisite, very delicate. The performance of these two motorcycles is better than the motorcycles that can be found on the market today. Not only are they faster, more powerful, but also more reliable. Of course, in terms of appearance, they don't. That said, the engine of the motorcycle will be provided by Dutch Engine Manufacturing Company, which is also my industry. The maximum speed of these motorcycle twas, the men's motorcycle can reach 60 km per hour, and the maximum speed of the women's motorcycle can reach 50 km per hour. Of course, as the performance of the engine is further improved, the speed will also be further increased. Do you think there will be a market for these two motorcycles in the market? Qin Tian asked. His Royal Highness, these two motorcycles are completely classic works of art. I believe that once they are launched on the market, they will definitely become popular in Germany and even Europe, said Paul Daimler. Although, he believes that the car is the main direction of development. But this does not prevent him from admiring these two motorcycles. Chapter 60, Top Products. Your Highness, who made these two motorcycles? William Maybach asked. At Daimler, he has always been responsible for the research and development of new products, and his vision is much more precise. These two motorcycles were designed by me, Qin Tian said brazenly. Anyway, he plagiarized the designs of later generations not once or twice, and his face has been tempered long ago. And this, naturally, also attracted the praise of William Maybach and Paul Daimler. These two motorcycles are civilian motorcycles, mainly for the civilian market. Here, there are also two military motorcycles. After civilian motorcycles are put on the market, military motorcycles should be developed as soon as possible. I think our army is also in urgent need of such high mobility vehicles. Qin Tian once again took out a design drawing from the suitcase. On this design drawing, there are two different motorcycles. Compared with the previous civilian version of motorcycles, military motorcycles are undoubtedly much thicker. Although the style is not so beautiful, it looks a lot more solid. But for military things, appearance has never been the direction of pursuit. Performance and reliability are the ones that need to be paid special attention to. One is a two-wheeled motorcycle that can take two people, and the other is a three-wheeled motorcycle with a sidecar. Will the military purchase military motorcycles? Paul Daimler hesitated. After all, the military does not purchase many of these motor vehicles now. As long as it has excellent performance, I think the military will be willing to purchase it. Of course, we may not make much profit on military motorcycles. You must be mentally prepared for this. Qin Tian prepared them in advance. Needle. Paul Daimler and William Maybach both nodded. Qin Tian's identity is decided. He can't make much money from the military, otherwise, others will gossip. Even, they will provide these things to the military at a loss. But it's also a huge boost for the product itself. If the military can buy it, at that time, sales will definitely increase further. Profits can naturally be obtained from other places. Can the two civilians' motorcycles are developed within 3 months? Qin Tian asked. Your Highness, it will not take 3 months at all. Since the engine is provided by the German engine manufacturing company, we just need to seize the time to overcome other difficulties. In a month at most, we can complete the research and development and produce samples. William Maybach promised. His Royal Highness, I think we can increase the production line and recruit workers in advance. After completing the research and development, we can immediately put into production. I'm sure the whole market will go crazy because of this. Paul Daimler was very excited. He seemed to have seen the scene where the motorcycles they produced caused a frenzy of sales in the market. Well, we can make preparations for expanding production first, so as not to be in a hurry. Qin Tian nodded. Once the 2 types of motorcycles for civilian use are withdrawn, they will inevitably be in short supply. At that time, the more motorcycles produced, the more profits can be made. Qin Tian bought Daimler AG not to lose money, but to make money. Although the Deutsche Welfare Lottery company makes money very quickly, as the stalls spread more and more, there are more and more places to use the money. Especially once the arms race starts. If Germany can't catch up with the British, it is impossible for Qin Tian to stand idly by. At that time, he will definitely contribute money and efforts to help Germany. Trying my best to earn more money now is also to prepare for the next step. Okay, Your Highness. I will start to do this tomorrow. Paul Daimler is full of energy. He even saw the day when Daimler surpassed Mercedes-Benz in the field of motor vehicle manufacturing. That's what his late father wanted to see. Then, the launch of the 2 civilian motorcycles will be 3 months away. After 2 months, I will start placing advertisements in major newspapers to promote them and strive to become a hit. Qin Tian said. This is the first product he launched after acquiring Daimler, so he naturally hopes to be a big success in the market. Yes, Your Highness. Paul, Daimler and William Maybach nodded again and again, although their shares in the new company are already very small. But if the motorcycle can be successful, even if they only have 5% of the shares, they will be able to share huge profits. After acquiring Daimler AG and making arrangements for the company's future development, Qin Tian left Stuttgart and returned to Berlin without staying there any longer. Deutsche Energy Company has already started operation, and Moritz sent a special person to the United States to purchase oil. At the same time, construction of a large oil refinery and oil storage facility was started in Rostock in northern Germany. Only 3 weeks later, Daimler completed the research and development of 2 civilian motorcycles. Qin Tian rushed to Stuttgart again to inspect and accept the 2 civilian motorcycles. Steel body, rubber tires, shock-absorbing springs, etc. make these 2 motorcycles look the same as the motorcycles of later generations. However, due to technical limitations, it is still unable to compare with the motorcycles of later generations in terms of performance. However, compared to the current motorcycles on the market, I don't know how many times better. It can be said that in comparison, those motorcycles on the market are simply rubbish. It's so beautiful, Your Royal Highness. This is clearly a work of art. I can't wait to own these 2 motorcycles. The men's version of the motorcycle, I guess every man wants to own it. And the women's version of the motorcycle, it will also become the favorite of those ladies. Karl von Johnereit, who came with Qin Tian, was full of admiration. Well, I think men and women throughout the German Empire and even the world will be crazy about it. Qin Tian said with satisfaction. Your Highness, from now on, we will do our best to produce these 2 motorcycles. We will strive to launch more products when they go on the market. Paul Daimler said. Well, let's do it like this. This time, we will definitely cause a sales frenzy again. Qin Tian is very confident about these 2 civilian motorcycles. Daimler will therefore take the lead in this field. This will promote the research and launch of a series of new products in the future. Chapter 61. Swept the World. June 1906, Berlin, Linden Avenue, the headquarters building of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery. People passing by here suddenly discovered that the wall of this building was suddenly covered with black canvas. Many people don't understand why this happens. Someone was very curious about this and went to ask what was going on. However, the result is that everything will be announced soon. On June 18th, when people passed by here again, they found that the black canvas had disappeared. In its place was a giant poster. The poster is divided into two parts. The left part is a handsome young man riding on a mighty motorcycle, giving people the feeling, not to mention how handsome he is. On the left part, there is a blonde beauty riding a small motorcycle. The motorcycle is exquisite and cute. After it is painted with red paint, few women can resist such a temptation. Got? What is that? A motorcycle? How can there be such a handsome motorcycle? A young man stared at the poster dumbfounded, and he seemed to be going stupid. The only thing he wanted to do was probably buy one of these motorcycles today. My god. It's so beautiful and cute. Does anyone know where the motorcycle on the poster is sold? I must buy one. A young lady also exclaimed. Many people stopped because of this poster, and there was a lot of discussion about it. Everyone has never seen a motorcycle with this shape before, and they were all shocked. The same poster is not only in Berlin. Almost all major cities in Germany have such posters. The lottery tickets of the two motorcycles of Daimler AG were also listed in the betting stations of the German welfare lottery company in various places, so that these two motorcycles were known to all Germans in the first place. At the same time, Daimler also purchased a large space in major newspapers for publicity. The newspaper not only introduced the performance of the two motorcycles, but also introduced the sales time. Oh my god. How can it be possible that it won't go on sale until a month later? I've already been conquered, and I want to own it now. A young man scratched his hair, very annoyed. Damn the manufacturer, can't they be faster? Don't they know that they will go to asterisk 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 if they tantalize people like this? A young girl cursed through gritted teeth. Daimler's two motorcycles, although not yet on the market, are already well known throughout Germany. Many people who have the desire to buy are counting their fingers to live, looking forward to the early launch of these two motorcycles. It took Daimler a month to buy or rent stores in major cities in Germany to sell their motorcycles and future cars. At the same time, it also provides maintenance services for these motorcycles and cars. And this is the prototype of the 4S shop of later generations. On July 18th, the first batch of 20,000 motorcycles of Daimler AG was put into the market. 10,000 motorcycles for men and 10,000 motorcycles for ladies. The prices of the two motorcycles are 1,500 marks and 1,000 marks respectively. Such a price, in terms of current prices, is undoubtedly very expensive. It takes about 2 years' salary for an ordinary worker to buy one. But even so, it can't stop their desire to buy. Got? How expensive? A young man complained. Idiot. Of course the price is not cheap for such a mighty motorcycle. If you don't buy it, get out of the way, and don't block the way in front, said a big man in the back. Who said I won't buy it? I'm just complaining. Everyone wants to buy such a good motorcycle. If you don't buy it now, you don't know when you will go next time. The young man muttered. He is not an idiot either, knowing that Daimler's motorcycles will definitely be snapped up once they go on the market. If you don't seize this opportunity now, it will be even more difficult to buy in the future. Sure enough, the 20,000 motorcycles that went on the market this time were all sold out within a day. This not only shocked the executives of Daimler, but also shocked the other motorcycle manufacturers' ground jaw. They never thought that such an expensive Daimler motorcycle would be sold so well. You know, when they learned the price of Daimler motorcycles, they asserted that these two motorcycles would not be sold at all. However, reality gave them a slap in the face. Those who were also shocked were those who were hesitating. After all, such an expensive price is not a small amount for many people. But just when they were hesitating, they were all sold out. While they were shocked, they also regretted it very much. Many people complain that they are not decisive enough. If they can make up their minds to buy immediately, they will not miss this opportunity. The next time I want to buy, I don't know how long I will have to wait. Of course, I don't know how many people began to write to Daimler, asking them to put in the next batch of motorcycles as soon as possible to satisfy everyone's desire to buy. His Royal Highness, it is too unbelievable. A total of 20,000 motorcycles were sold out in one day. When did the purchasing power of the German people become so strong? The next day, Paul Daimler rushed to Berlin in person to report the sales situation to Qin Tian. You know, the entire Daimler company was shocked by the sales speed. Mr. Daimler, this is only the beginning. With the free advertising of those who have bought our motorcycles will soon be popular all over Germany, Europe, and the world. When the time comes, orders will flow to Daimler like snowflakes. Are you in the company already? Qin Tian asked calmly, as if he was not shocked by the sales figures. Your Highness, the whole company is ready. After deducting the 20,000 motorcycles sold, we still have 20,000 motorcycles in stock. After expanding the production scale, we can sell 40,000 motorcycles every month in the future. A motorcycle, said Paul Daimler. In his view, this is already an extremely high output. When the factory was expanded, it was Qin Tian who insisted on upgrading to such a production scale. Otherwise, the monthly production of 20,000 vehicles may be the limit. Is the monthly production of 40,000 vehicles really enough? Maybe even the demand in Europe can't be met. Qin Tian couldn't help but shook his head. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Military Motorcycle. The sales of the two motorcycles produced by Daimler can no longer be described as hot. The second batch of 20,000 motorcycles also sold out within a day. The German people love these two motorcycles very much. Especially young people are proud to own these two motorcycles. This also made Daimler stores in various places always line up long after the sale date, and many people even started queuing up the night before in order to be able to buy it. Even if Daimler puts 40,000 motorcycles on the market every month, it took 3 months to ease the situation. But even so, Daimler's motorcycle sales are very good. Other motor vehicle manufacturers have also begun to enter this field. However, Daimler took the lead in registering a lot of shape patents, so that other companies can only redesign, which not only wastes a lot of time, but also produces products that cannot satisfy consumers. Compete with Daimler. Other countries in Europe have also set off a wave of buying by these two motorcycles. It's just that Daimler can't even meet Germany's domestic needs, let alone open up foreign markets. In order to ensure the impact on foreign markets, Qin Tian decided to allocate 5,000 vehicles from the monthly production to the markets of Britain, France and the United States. There is no doubt that the two motorcycles of Daimler have also achieved great success in these countries. However, the number is too small. For every one strong demand, thousands of motorcycles are like a drop in the bucket. Under such circumstances, Daimler had to further increase production, hoping to meet market demand as soon as possible. Of course, it is also to seize more markets as soon as possible. The most popular products in the market are the ones that are most likely to follow suit. Even if the imitation products are not as good as the original products, it is still a big attraction for those who have been unable to buy them for a long time. And Qin Tian's attention has long been absent from Daimler's civilian motorcycles. When civilian motorcycle sales were booming, Daimler's research and development department developed a military heavy motorcycle according to Qin Tian's request. There are a total of 2 rounds and 3 rounds. The first batch of 10 of these two military motorcycles arrived in Berlin at the end of August. On September 2nd, Qin Tian was in a military camp outside Berlin. Qin Tian invited the main military leaders to watch the performance of these two heavy military motorcycles. He hopes to take this opportunity to get orders from the military. Of course, I also hope that the combat effectiveness of the troops can be further improved as a result. Chief of the General Staff Moltke, Minister of War von Falkenhayn, Minister of the Navy Marshal Count Tirpitz, Deputy Chief of the General Staff General Waldsee, Army Generals Clark, Below, General Hausen and Mar General Witz attended this event. With Qin Tian's great success in business, he already has a very high social status. Coupled with his support for army building, he is also very respected in the military. Of course, this is primarily a naval aspect. Since the army has almost never received Qin Tian's support, his support in the army is relatively weak. Some army generals even complained because of this, thinking that Qin Tian, like William II, valued the navy and despised the army. But this didn't stop them from looking forward to Qin Tian. If Qin Tian can support the army as much as he supports the navy, then the army can also get a lot of benefits. It is precisely because of this that everyone is so respectful of Qin Tian's invitation. It can be said that in many places, Qin Tian's influence has even surpassed that of Crown Prince William. If it weren't for the glamorous coat of the Crown Prince William would have no way to compare with Qin Tian. Thank you very much for coming to watch our motorcycle show this time, and hope that our products can satisfy you. Qin Tian smiled. His Royal Highness, the motorcycles launched by your Daimler company have set off a frenzy of buying all over the country and even the whole of Europe. I have to admit that those two motorcycles are classics. My son and daughter, both they each bought one. If I were 20 years younger, I would be like those boys and spend all my money to snap up one. War Minister von Falkenhayn said with a smile. Your Excellency has praised you. It is our honor to satisfy your Excellency. Qin Tian replied with a smile. His Royal Highness, please start. We have other affairs. It is impossible to waste too much time here. Zhao Maoki urged. I'm sorry, Chief of the General Staff. The performance will start soon. Qin Tian could tell that Maoki was a little impatient. It can be said that among these people, Zhao Maoki's attitude towards Qin Tian is relatively indifferent. However, Qin Tian can also understand. He knows that little Maoki and Crown Prince William rarely have a close relationship, and he can be called a diehard supporter of Crown Prince William. When Crown Prince William was hostile to Qin Tian, Zhao Maoki naturally wouldn't have a good look towards Qin Tian. Soon, the performance began. First up were 10 two-wheeled motorcycles. 20 heavily armed soldiers drove on the playground on these 10 motorcycles. Even with a load of more than 200 kilograms, these motorcycles still perform very well. Generals, the maximum speed of these motorcycles on the road can reach 90 kilometers per hour. They can also drive on dirt roads, but the speed will be affected to a certain extent. Even on grasslands without roads, they can continue. This makes it have limited off-road capabilities. If our army is equipped with such motorcycles, the marching speed will be greatly improved. Qin Tian introduced to everyone. Your Highness, when the troops are fighting, there will be no roads on the battlefield, and the terrain is not flat at all. Therefore, it is difficult to apply such a motorcycle to the battlefield. Moki shook his head. Your Excellency, Chief of the General Staff, when our troops advance, they often advance along roads. Using motorcycles can greatly increase the speed of advance. Qin Tian explained. In my opinion, this point is not very useful. It is impossible for our troops to advance hundreds of kilometers a day on the battlefield. Little Maoki shook his head. Your Excellency, Chief of the General Staff, I think our reconnaissance troops can be equipped with such military motorcycles, which will allow them to detect the enemy's situation faster and report to their superiors. Von Falkenhayn interjected. Chapter 63, Deliberately Targeting. Your Highness, let's make a decision after watching the performances of other motorcycles. General Walzer, the Deputy Chief of Staff, suggested. In fact, he came out to smooth things over. The other generals also agreed. None of the people present were fools, so they could see that Maoki was indifferent to Qin Tian. What's more, Zhao Maoki didn't want the army to purchase military motorcycles produced by Qin Tian's factories at all. Although the performance of these military motorcycles is very good, if equipped, it will play a certain role in improving the combat effectiveness of the army. From this, it can be seen that Zhao Maoki is an extremely selfish person who only does things according to his own preferences and does not consider whether it will be useful to the country at all. In addition, his character is stubborn and conceited, self-righteous, always thinking that he is the most outstanding military strategist in the world, and everyone else is nothing more than that, and he only wants to make a more brilliant career than his uncle Maoki. Old Moltke, as the former chief of staff of the German army, led the Prussian army, defeated many powerful countries, helped William I unify Germany, and established an immortal feat. Such feats have always inspired little Maoki. But it is a pity that little Maoki has such an ambition, but he has no such ability at all. With his eyes above the top, he revised the combat plan left by his predecessor, General Schlieffen, before the start of the First World War. As a result, the German army failed to make a breakthrough on the Western Front at the beginning of the war, and fell into a stalemate. Lost the war. Although, in another time and space, the responsibility for Germany's loss of the war cannot be completely attributed to little Maoki, but it is undeniable that he does bear an inescapable responsibility for this. General Schlieffen saw the disadvantages of Germany, so when formulating the battle plan, he wanted to defeat France first at the beginning of the war. Only in this way can Germany avoid consuming all its strength in the two-front battle, and thus losing the war. However, after Xiaomoki took over, he self-righteously revised the Schlieffen plan, which made General Schlieffen's combat plan impossible to realize. Qin Tian didn't like little Maoki either. If it wasn't for his close relationship with William II and the lingering shadow of his predecessors, it would be impossible for him to become the chief of the general staff. Of course, even if he didn't like it, Qin Tian could only accept it. Even if he is a prince, he has no right to whether a military giant like the chief of staff will stay or stay. Not to mention him, even Crown Prince William does not have the qualifications. Even William II, if he wanted to replace the chief of staff, he might have to seek the decide opinions of many parties. Otherwise, once a rebound is triggered, the consequences will be disastrous. Everyone, the next one will be a three-wheeled motorcycle. Qin Tian also took advantage of this step to get down and stopped arguing with Xiaomoki. After all, the current him, even if he knows that little Maoki is deliberately targeting him, there is nothing he can do. Little Maoki glanced at Qin Tian, then looked at the playground, without saying anything. Although he doesn't like Qin Tian, he has to admit that Qin Tian's ability is very good, much better than Crown Prince William's. Soon, a row of three-wheeled motorcycles appeared. After these generals saw those motorcycles, they couldn't help but widen their eyes. Because, on the sidecar of the three-wheeled motorcycle, an MG-08 heavy machine gun was erected impressively. Under the gaze of everyone, these three-wheeled motorcycles started shooting while driving. Da-da-da. These MG-08 heavy machine guns began to shoot wildly. The dense bullets roared and flew forward. My god. These three-wheeled motorcycles can still be used in combination with heavy machine guns. They can also fire while moving. Von Falkenhayn exclaimed. Even Xiaomoki could not help but shrink his eyes slightly. Everyone, we use the combination of heavy machine guns and three-wheeled motorcycles, which undoubtedly forms a fast-moving firepower point. On the battlefield, this will undoubtedly play a great role. Of course, if the traffic on the battlefield the conditions are very bad, and if there is no dirt road, its performance will be greatly restricted. However, if it is to chase the enemy along the road, it will undoubtedly produce excellent results. Qin Tian introduced to everyone. Once we dispatch a team composed of such motorcycles, while chasing the enemy, I think it will be a disaster for our enemy. General Waldsee also praised. Yes, General. It is definitely a feat to move a heavy machine gun to a three-wheeled motorcycle. Not only can it play a role on the frontal battlefield, but it can also have a great effect in the controlled area. You know, after the main force of our army advances, there will always be some guys hiding underground like mice against us. They attack our transportation and supply lines, and even attack hospitals. These three-wheeled motorcycles can quickly move other troops arrived where they are needed and attack those enemies. Another German general also said. The generals of the German army are very optimistic about this three-wheeled motorcycle. They all believe that this is very helpful to improve the combat effectiveness of the German army. Everyone, is this motorcycle satisfactory to everyone? However, I have to be honest with everyone. The MG-08 heavy machine gun is too heavy. With cooling water, it is 68 kilograms in total. Such a weight is for a three-wheeled motorcycle. As far as the sidecar is concerned, it will generate great pressure. At the same time, it will also affect the performance of the motorcycle. It would be better if the weight of the heavy machine gun can be reduced a little more. Qin Tian said to everyone. Qin Tian's behavior of telling everyone the truth without conspiracy won the praise of the generals. After all, if Qin Tian concealed this, it would be difficult for them to know. However, Qin Tian chose to tell the truth. This point is really not easy. Your Royal Highness, you are a very beautiful city, and we are moved by it. I think the army needs this motorcycle. Von Falkenhayn said. It's just that von Falkenhayn nodded. It's not up to him. It needs little Maoki to also nod. So, everyone's eyes were on little Maoki. However, almost everyone believed that, as the chief of the general staff, Xiaomoki should not refuse to purchase this motorcycle. After all, this motorcycle has excellent performance and is also very applicable. Xiaomoki has no reason and should not refuse to purchase it. Otherwise, he would be too incompetent as chief of staff. Chapter 64, Army Favor. Xiaomoki knew that he had to find a suitable reason to reject Qin Tian. Otherwise, he would not be able to explain to everyone, and it would also arouse other people's doubts. Once it reached the ears of William II, the consequences were even more serious. William II would never want his chief of staff to be a person who abolished public affairs for personal reasons. I don't even want him to do things that harm the interests of the German Empire in order to please Crown Prince William. However, Xiaomoki knew that Qin Tian's influence could not be further expanded. The navy has completely turned to Qin Tian. If the army also fell to Qin Tian, the position of Crown Prince William might really be in jeopardy. Your Highness, this is indeed a very good product. However, the army simply has no money to purchase it. The current situation is getting more and more tense, and Germany's position makes us have to beware of threats from both sides. Therefore, the army must strengthen its military equipment, and the military expenditure is only a little. Almost every year, the military expenditure is not enough. Therefore, we have no money to purchase these motorcycles at all. Xiaomoki said regretfully. Although, this reason is a bit lame. However, it has to be admitted that this is a reasonable reason. Lack of money has become a problem for the entire German military. The annual military expenditure is only a little, and if you want to improve the combat effectiveness of the troops, you can only find ways from other places. The life of the navy is a little easier now. The loans from the royal family and Qin Tian have enabled them to have enough financial resources to build the warships they need. However, the army is different. Little Maoki glanced at Qin Tian's expression and laughed in his heart. He wished that Qin Tian would be deflated. This would be very helpful in combating Qin Tian's influence. Although, Xiaomoki also has to admit that with Qin Tian's ability, if he has the opportunity to inherit the German throne, he may do better than Crown Prince William. This is a great thing for the people of Germany and even the whole of Germany. Just, for him personally, I'm afraid it is not so wonderful. After all, from the very beginning, he was clearly on the side of Crown Prince William. Even if you want to change the court now, it's too late. Therefore, he can only go one way to the dark. His Royal Highness, if possible, I hope that His Highness can donate a batch of motorcycles to the army. After all, His Highness donated a battleship to the navy, and that is a big guy worth 50 million marks. Your Highness can't favor one over another. Little Maoki continued to run. Qin Tian donated a battleship to the navy, although for ordinary people, this is a secret. However, for these military leaders, this is not a secret. The reason why Xiaomoki said this was undoubtedly to arouse the dissatisfaction in the hearts of the army generals. After all, we have the German army at the same time. Why do the emperor and princes support the navy with all their strength, but ignore their army? This is too unfair. Damn it, what did this old guy do? Why does he always get along with me? I didn't offend him. Qin Tian also felt the hostility of little Maoki, so he was a little confused, so he didn't know why little Maoki would always do that to him. Everything Qin Tian did was to enhance Germany's military strength and ensure that Germany would have a better chance of winning in future wars. Qin Tian knew that these senior descendants of the army must not be dissatisfied with him. In that case, it will be a major threat to him in the future. Regardless of whether he has a chance to replace Crown Prince William, these generals had better not be offended. Your Excellency, Chief of the General Staff, of course I will not favor one over another. I'm also full of respect for the army of the German Empire. The German Empire's unification and its current international status are inseparable from the strength of the army. Since the army is now, if the funds are difficult, then I'm personally willing to donate 10,000 two-wheeled military motorcycles and 10,000 three-wheeled military motorcycles to the army. According to the value, the 20,000 motorcycles already exceed 50 million marks. However, this donation must be kept secret. Otherwise, if it is leaked, it will have a great adverse effect on my overseas business. Qin Tian said with a smile. Donating motorcycles worth 50 million marks to the army is nothing to the wealthy Qin Tian. Qin Tian himself is willing to donate these things to the army. However, what made him dissatisfied was Xiao Mocha's attitude. Qin Tian will cooperate with the army a lot in the future, and he doesn't want to be stopped by Xiao Mocha in the future. In terms of the size of the German army and the large-scale military expansion after the outbreak of the war, 20,000 motorcycles are simply not enough, and more will be purchased. In addition, Qin Tian also wants to produce military trucks, armored vehicles and tanks in the future. He can't let him donate all these for free. In that case, wouldn't he be dead? Little Maoki was also stunned by Qin Tian's words. It was worth 50 million marks, and he donated it without blinking an eye. This made little Maoki twitch his mouth. This guy's too rich, right? 50 million marks were donated without hesitation. Sure enough, as others have said, in the business field, he is definitely a genius. Papa. The generals of the army clapped their hands and applauded at this moment. They were very satisfied with Qin Tian's generosity. Even those who were dissatisfied with Qin Tian's strong support for the navy are now convinced. Thank you, Your Royal Highness, for your support of the army. Von Falkenhayn thanked. As the Prince of the German Empire, this is what I should do. What I want to tell you is that both the army and the navy are important military forces of the empire. In my eyes, there is no priority. I support the navy because the navy faces a powerful enemy, and the army, we are already number one in the world. Qin Tian continued. Qin Tian's words made the generals of the army very satisfied. The German army has long had their series of victories showing how powerful their combat effectiveness is. Number one in the world is definitely well deserved. However, Qin Tian said this in front of them, which still made them feel very honorable. Everyone looked at Qin Tian with kindness in their eyes. Many people couldn't help but compare Qin Tian with Crown Prince William. In the final result, it was obvious that Qin Tian was much better in all aspects, and the two sides were not even comparable at all. Chapter 65. I see. Thank you, Your Highness, for your generosity. If the army's military expenditure is a little more relaxed in the future, we may purchase more motorcycles. Little Moki tried hard to force his smile on his face, but no matter how he looked, he was smiling on the surface. Qin Tian nodded and didn't say anything more. He knew that little Maoki was just talking on the scene. It would be very difficult for the army to buy things from his companies, especially when Maoki continued to be the chief of staff. An activity to sell motorcycles to the army turned into an activity to donate a large number of motorcycles to the army, which made Qin Tian very speechless. However, he was able to spend 50 million marks to make most of the army's main generals change their views on him. Qin Tian thought that the money spent was not a loss. In many cases, even if you spend money, you may not achieve such an effect. After Qin Tian and the army reached an agreement, the activity ended. Little Maoki took the lead to say goodbye and leave. However, the moment he turned around, the fake smile on his face disappeared completely, replaced by a gloomy face. It seems that His Royal Highness Prince Oscar is really an ambitious person. He is such a good military at no cost. Obviously he wants to get the support of the military so as to shake the throne of Crown Prince William. Crown Prince William seems to be as stable as Mount Take, and the throne remains stable under the impact of Prince Oscar. Xiao Maoki thought secretly. However, little Maoki soon felt that the throne of Crown Prince William, which seemed stable, was actually already crumbling. William II has become increasingly dissatisfied with Crown Prince William, thinking that Crown Prince William is like mud that cannot support the wall. In all fairness, Crown Prince William is still outstanding. However, compared with Qin Tian, the Avildoer, the gap is not even a little bit. His Royal Highness, thank you for your support to the army. Von Falkenhayn held Qin Tian's hand, his face full of gratitude. As the Minister of War, you can imagine the pressure on him when the military expenditure is not enough. If there were a few more people like Qin Tian who were willing to donate generously for the military power of the empire, his life would undoubtedly be much easier. Your Excellency, you are too serious. This is what I should do. Qin Tian was still very humble. Von Falkenhayn patted Qin Tian on the shoulder, then left, feeling in his heart, it would be great if His Royal Highness Prince Oscar is His Majesty's eldest son. Obviously, Von Falkenhayn felt sorry for Qin Tian. In his opinion, Qin Tian is obviously more suitable to inherit the empire than Crown Prince William. Because, once Qin Tian inherits the empire will develop even stronger. However, it would be hard to say if Crown Prince William inherited the empire. Unfortunately, it is almost impossible for Qin Tian to replace Crown Prince William. The other generals of the army also left one after another. They all had smiles on their faces, shook hands with Qin Tian, and said words of thanks. From their eyes, Qin Tian felt their sincerity. In addition, he also felt something else. For example, sorry. Of course he knew what these generals were lamenting. However, there was nothing he could do about it. Marshal Earl Tirpitz was the last person to leave, and when he left, he invited Qin Tian to ride in a car with him. Qin Tian knew that Marshal Earl Tirpitz had something to say to him. Qin Tian strongly supports the development of the Navy, and this also brings great rewards. At least Marshal Earl Tirpitz, the head of the Navy, is very optimistic about him. Of course, many people were dissatisfied with this approach of Marshal Earl Tirpitz. It's just that Marshal Earl Tirpitz didn't take it to heart at all. Outsiders didn't know how much Qin Tian supported the Navy, and Marshal Earl Tirpitz didn't want to pay attention to their words. Your Highness, you did a very good job today. I'm very grateful for your strong support for the Navy. However, many people have opinions on this. The guys in the army are also very unbalanced. However, after what happened today, they should feel much better. Marshal Earl Tirpitz said with a smile. Although Qin Tian donated 50 million mark motorcycles to the army, Marshal Earl Tirpitz didn't feel any imbalance in his heart. After all, Qin Tian's support for the Navy is undoubtedly much greater. Not to mention a Helgoland class battleship, even a low interest loan of 100 million marks per year, is also a huge help. Otherwise, the German Navy would have no way to launch advanced warships like dumplings. Not to mention, because of Qin Tian's influence, William II also agreed to provide the Navy with a loan of 100 million marks every year from the wealth of the royal family. Your Excellency Marshal, the Navy is very important in future wars, but so is the army. After the Navy defeats the enemy, it still needs to rely on the army to occupy the enemy's territory. After all, our warships can't go ashore, right? So, I also value the army very much. However, our army is already very strong, and the enemies we face are not as strong as those faced by the Navy. Qin Tian shook his head. He didn't want the German army to be crippled like the British. The British Navy is the most powerful in the world, but the British pocket army is not flattering. Qin Tian hopes that the German army, like the Navy, has the strongest power in the world. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded in satisfaction, agreeing with Qin Tian's point of view. The enemies of the German Navy are too strong, and their debts are too great. In order to catch up, it is necessary to increase investment. Relatively speaking, the pressure is a little less. However, this does not mean that the army is not important. Your Highness, do you feel the hostility towards you from that little Moltke? Asked Marshal Count Tirpitz. Qin Tian nodded. That's right, the Chief of Staff seems to be deliberately targeting me today. I don't seem to have offended him, right? Your Highness, sometimes it's a sin to be too dazzling alone. Your Highness is like this now. The outstanding talent shown by His Highness has already made someone feel threatened. And Zhao Maoki naturally doesn't want the worst. The situation happened. That's why he jumped out and wanted to contain His Highness. However, it seems that he has not been able to succeed. Marshal Earl Tirpitz raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Your Excellency Marshal, you mean that this was ordered by His Royal Highness Crown Prince William? Qin Tian frowned. Chapter 66. Desperate. Tirpitz shook his head. This time, it is not necessarily that Crown Prince William instructed Moltke to do this, and he does not have the ability. But Moltke and Crown Prince William are well known. And it has already posed a huge threat to Crown Prince William's status. Whether you admit it or not, the fact is true. At least, Crown Prince William thinks so. So, in the future, Crown Prince William will definitely continue to trouble you. Qin Tian nodded. He was not surprised that Crown Prince William targeted him. He had already expected this. However, Zhao Meoki's attitude was so obvious, which was a bit beyond his expectation. Your Highness, I have some news for you. Your Majesty has complained more than once that His Royal Highness is too paranoid, narrow-minded, and limited in ability. I'm afraid he won't be able to rule the empire well, Tirpitz said. The problem is so serious. Qin Tian couldn't help being taken aback. Although, he already knew that William II was becoming more and more dissatisfied with what Crown Prince William did. But I didn't expect that William II would complain like this. This undoubtedly shows that William II's patience with Crown Prince William has almost reached its limit. Otherwise, with William II's love for the eldest son, Crown Prince William, such a thing would never have happened. Your Highness, the reason for this is due to you. Tirpitz sighed. Your Excellency, Marshal, what does this mean? Qin Tian deliberately pretended to be stupid. Even though he is full of longing for the throne, he will never admit it until the dust settles. Otherwise, not only would there be no hope for the throne, but maybe he would suffer disaster. Because His Highness the Prince's performance is too outstanding and dazzling. And this is in stark contrast to Crown Prince William. Crown Prince William only knows to use his own status and identity to dictate and meddle in state affairs. But in fact, what nothing can be done. It is really hard to imagine what kind of development direction such a person will lead the empire once he becomes the Emperor of the Your Excellency Marshal. His Highness the Crown Prince is indeed too. Marshal Earl Tirpitz shook his head. Qin Tian was deeply convinced of Tirpitz's views on Crown Prince William. Of course, it can't really be recognized on the surface eager for success, which makes him unable to succeed in many issues. Qin Tian said. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded. Your Highness, if your Majesty is willing to make you the Crown Prince, what will you do? Your Majesty, the laws of the Empire will not allow such a thing to happen. Qin Tian shook his head. This may be the biggest difference between the East and the West. The Crown Prince of the Eastern Empire is completely determined by the Emperor. Western countries, however, must follow the law. The law of succession to the throne is not a show. Indeed, such a situation is very unlikely to happen. However, in the end, it depends on the will of His Majesty the Emperor. If His Majesty is determined to replace the Crown Prince, then everything is possible. If there is, then for one day, the Navy will fully support His Royal Highness, because I firmly believe that only His Royal Highness can lead the Navy and lead the German Empire to a glorious victory. Marshal Count Tirpitz said solemnly. The expression on Qin Tian's face also became serious. He knew that Marshal Earl Tirpitz was expressing his attitude. Unless there is no problem with Crown Prince William, once William II wants to change the Crown Prince, he can get the support of the Navy. Your Excellency Marshal, it is impossible to say that you don't want to be the Crown Prince. However, I know that it is very difficult. Therefore, the most important thing right now is to do our own thing well. Leave other things to God. If I really have that chance, of course I will do my part. Qin Tian said. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded and said no more. When Qin Tian and Marshal Earl Tirpitz returned to Berlin, the chief of the general staff, Meoki, went straight to Potsdam. In a farm on the outskirts of Potsdam, Little Moltke met Crown Prince William here. This farm is the estate of the Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin. After the marriage of Crown Prince William and Cecilia, the farm has been assigned to Cecilia's name. Your Excellency, Chief of Staff, you are here. Please sit down and try this glass of wine produced by the manor itself. Although it is not as good as the red wine produced by the old winery in Bordeaux, France, it is also unique. Crown Prince William said, face smile. Seeing Crown Prince William's appearance like this, Zhao Meoki couldn't help shaking his head in his heart, and at the same time had some doubts whether he chose to support Crown Prince William, whether it was right or wrong. This Crown Prince is devoted to pleasure. Although he has great ambitions and few talents. Apart from having the slight advantage of having the eldest son of the royal family, there is no way to compare with Prince Oscar in other places. In this comparison, Prince Oscar is undoubtedly the most suitable candidate for Crown Prince. It's just that little Meoki knows that he has no way to get off the ship. After offending Qin Tian, even if he wanted to change his position, he might not be able to be reused. But for a person like Zhao Meoki, once he lost his power, it would be more uncomfortable than killing him. Therefore, for his own status and the power in his hands, he has no other choice but to support Crown Prince William. His Royal Highness, are you still in the mood to drink? The current situation is very bad. His Royal Highness Prince Oscar decided to donate motorcycles worth 50 million marks to the army, which greatly satisfied the generals of the army. His attitude has also undergone a drastic change. Once Prince Oscar increases his investment in the army, I'm afraid that those guys will soon fall to him. In addition, the navy has already completely fallen to Prince Oscar. Then, Your Highness, there is no chance of winning at all, Xiaomoki said with a serious face. What? How did this happen? Damn it, what the asterisk is Oscar trying to do? He has won over the navy, and he is also trying his best to win over the army. Crown Prince William suddenly became furious. The smile on his face had completely disappeared, replaced by a ferocious face. His Royal Highness, the current situation is very critical. If you continue like this, just hand over the throne to Prince Oscar. After Xiaomoki finished speaking, he turned and left. Bastard. Crown Prince William was furious, and the wine bottle in his hand fell to the ground and shattered. The scalded wine stained the floor red. Oscar, you asked for death yourself. You forced me. Don't blame me. Crown Prince William drank the wine in his hand in one gulp. A ruthless look flashed in his eyes. Chapter 67. Assassinate. Crown Prince William's patience with Qin Tian has also reached its limit. He regards the throne as his own possession, his own taboo, and absolutely does not allow others to take the throne away. If someone dared to do that, he would use all means to retaliate, even kill him. Even if that person is his own brother. Oscar, even though you are my younger brother, you have developed ambitions that you shouldn't have. The throne belongs to me, and you cannot take it away. Since you want to take my throne away, then you obviously didn't take my throne away. As an older brother, I naturally don't need to be lenient. Crown Prince William came up with this lame reason to convince himself. In fact, it was just that he thought that Qin Tian wanted to get his hands on his throne, so he wanted to kill his own brother. Crown Prince William quickly wrote a letter, and then asked his confidants to send it to Mecklenburg-Schwerin and hand it over to his father-in-law Friedrich Franz III. I hope that Friedrich Franz III can send someone to kill Qin Tian. Once Qin Tian died, then naturally no one could compete with him, and his throne is naturally impregnable. As for the other brothers younger, Crown Prince William didn't care at all. Oscar must die this time. Only after he dies will my father not teach me a lesson. Only in this way can my throne be stabilized, Crown Prince William said secretly. After repeating this a few times, the hesitation on his face had completely disappeared, replaced by a look of determination. In order to keep his throne, he already regarded Qin Tian as someone who must be killed. By the way, Oscar still has so much property. It would be even better if those properties could be taken back after his death. With that money, I can give the navy more money to build warships, and give the army more money. I will be equipped with more advanced weapons. At that time, they will definitely support me wholeheartedly. In future wars, I will definitely defeat the British, French, and Russians, and become a more outstanding emperor than William the Great. Yes. Crown Prince William seemed to be immersed in his own imagination, thinking that he was God, and everything would obey his will. Crown Prince William was full of jealousy for Qin Tian's possession of so much wealth. Of course he thought about how to arrange it, if he could have so much wealth. As for how to earn more wealth, he didn't think about it. Qin Tian had absolutely no knowledge of what Crown Prince William had done. Although he knew that Crown Prince William was very dissatisfied with him, he did not expect that Crown Prince William would take a desperate approach. After all, this is Germany and Wilhelm II is still alive. With William II's control over the country, there will never be a situation where the Crown Prince buys murder to assassinate the rest of the princes. If such a thing really happened, it would undoubtedly be a scandal for the entire royal family, and the Hohenzollern family would become the laughingstock of the entire Europe, and be ridiculed for 100 years. Qin Tian thought that, even if Crown Prince William was very upset with him, there was nothing he could do about it. After all, everything he did was aimed at strengthening Germany's military, so that it could win future wars. More importantly, William II nodded and acquiesced to all of this. Even King William II acquiesced to Qin Tian's actions, so what else can Crown Prince William say? When Friedrich Franz III received the letter from Crown Prince William, it was already the night of the second day. When Friedrich Franz III read the entire letter, he locked himself in the office. As the Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin, Friedrich Franz III was undoubtedly an important member of the upper class in Germany. Marrying his daughter to Crown Prince William means that the status of their family will rise in the future. After all, when Crown Prince William succeeds to the throne and becomes the Emperor of the German Empire, he will be able to further strive for more benefits for the family by relying on his father and daughter. However, everything that was originally conceived now has problems. Qin Tian's sudden rise made Crown Prince William's position somewhat awkward. Although the status of the Crown Prince makes him still the heir to the throne among the princes. However, the brilliance of Crown Prince William has been completely covered by Qin Tian. Especially in Qin Tian's heir, who has a huge amount of wealth in his hands. But he didn't indulge in sensuality, but used it to invest in other industries, and even to support the development of the army. This made Qin Tian gain the favor of the military. At the same time, this also poses a direct threat to the status of Crown Prince William. Alas, I thought that Cecilia's marriage to Crown Prince William would bring us huge benefits. But now it seems that the risk is too great. Friedrich Franz III sighed. Crown Prince William's request really made Friedrich Franz III feel embarrassed. But if they refuse, it will not only make Crown Prince William resentful towards them, but also make their previous investment in Crown Prince William be in vain. Such consequences are also unbearable. Friedrich Franz III hesitated for a long time before making a decision. He decided to send someone to assassinate Qin Tian. He naively thought that, as long as he did it a little more secretly, he would be safe. Even if they are finally revealed, it will be difficult to track them down. Time passed little by little, and autumn entered in a blink of an eye. In autumn in Germany, the climate is cool. Qin Tian's work was finally free. After the layout of several industries has been completed, he just needs to wait for these companies to grow into towering trees in their respective industries. All this takes time. Once these enterprises really grow up, Qin Tian will own the top industrial group in Germany and even the world. On October 24th, Qin Tian and Carol left the building of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company, ready to drive back to Potsdam. While waiting for the driver to drive over, a young man walked over with a map. "Hello, sir. I'm a first-time visitor to Berlin. May I ask how to get from here to the Brandenburg Gate?" the young man asked as he walked. Qin Tian was about to answer, but suddenly his heart tightened, and the hairs all over his body stood on end, as if a catastrophe was imminent. This feeling made Qin Tian immediately take a step back, and Carol beside Qin Tian also noticed Qin Tian's abnormality. Then they noticed that the young man who came up to them and asked for directions was actually holding a pistol in his hand under the map. Chapter 68, Survived. His Royal Highness, get out of the way. Karl von Jonnerlet shouted loudly. Qin Tian also dodged to the side subconsciously, but it was still too late. Go to hell, Your Highness. The killer spat out a few words and pulled the trigger of the pistol. Boom. When the gunshot rang out, Qin Tian only felt that someone had punched him hard in the stomach, and a sharp pain hit him, causing him to fall backwards involuntarily. At the same time, consciousness began to leave his body. Am I going to die? I'm not reconciled. Qin Tian shouted loudly in his heart. However, no sound came out of his mouth at all. Indeed, if Qin Tian died now, he would be very unwilling. It was hard to get a chance to be reborn. It would be too unworthy if he died before he could change history with his own strength. After dying this time, is there any chance of rebirth? Qin Tian was not sure at all. To be able to be reborn once, this is already a great thing that is unique in a million. Your Highness, how are you doing? Carol von Jonnerlet didn't care about chasing the escaped killer and ran to Qin Tian's side with a panicked expression. Come quickly, Your Highness has been shot. Send Your Highness to the hospital. Karl von Jonnerlet shouted loudly. The people in the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company also ran out. After discovering this situation, they immediately sent a car to take Qin Tian to the hospital. After the hospital knew Qin Tian's identity, they didn't dare to neglect and immediately organized doctors to rescue him. No matter what method you use, you must find a way to save His Highness. Karl von Jonarit yelled frantically. His handsome face had become a little ferocious. Yes, Mr. Jonarit, we will definitely do our best. However, please don't hinder our work any longer. Otherwise, if we delay the rescue of His Highness, then it is none of our business. The Dean said with a cold face said. I'm sorry, Dean. Karl von Jonarit immediately woke up. Afterwards, Karl von Jonarit immediately sent someone to ask his father to notify William II, and also sent someone to strengthen the hospital's defenses to prevent criminals from taking advantage of it again. When the news that Qin Tian was assassinated and was being rescued reached William II, he was holding an imperial meeting. When Essen von Jonarit broke into the office and walked towards him with a serious face, Kaiser Wilhelm II immediately realized that something big had happened. Essen, what's the matter? What happened? William II asked. Your Majesty, His Royal Highness Prince Oscar was assassinated. The murderer shot him, and he is currently being rescued in the hospital. Essen von Jonarit said. What? What kind of good thing is this? Who did it? William II was furious. How dare you openly assassinate the Prince of the German Empire in Berlin? Marshal Earl Tirpitz, Minister of War von Falkenhayn, Prime Minister Bernhard von Bülow and others were shocked. Such a bad incident has not happened in Germany for a long time. Especially since this is Berlin, the capital of Germany. It should be the place with the best security in Germany. Crown Prince William was also present. After hearing the news, although he looked very angry on the surface, there was a flash of excitement in his eyes. Great. Friedrich Fletcher III finally made a move. It would be great if Oscar could be eliminated in one fell swoop. Crown Prince William thought secretly. Once Qin Tian died, there would be no threat to him anymore. Even if William II found out about him, he probably wouldn't really do anything to him. After all, it would undoubtedly be very inappropriate to deal with a crown prince for the sake of a dead ordinary prince. As for Qin Tian's wealth, I'm afraid that it will all belong to the royal family in the end. As the crown prince of the empire, Crown Prince William can naturally enjoy a share of it. When he succeeds to the throne and becomes the emperor of the empire, he can dispose of the wealth at will. It can be said that it is precisely because of this that Crown Prince William has nothing to fear. Little Mauki also attended this imperial meeting, and when he heard the news of Qin Tian's assassination, his heart immediately tightened. He knew that this must have been done by Crown Prince William. Crown Prince William dared to send someone to assassinate the Youth League, which he did not expect. However, this did not make Zhao Moki agree. The last time he reminded Crown Prince William, he hoped that Crown Prince William would cheer up and spend his time dealing with state affairs, so that William II would change his view of him. But I didn't expect that Crown Prince William would take such a short-term approach directly. Although, in the history of various royal families in Europe, it is not uncommon to kill one's own brother in order to compete for the throne. But from an emotional point of view, it is undoubtedly difficult to accept. No one wants the object of their allegiance to be an alien. Mr. Jonarit, how is your highness? Is your life in danger? Marshal Earl Tirpitz asked anxiously. Marshal Earl Tirpitz already regarded Qin Tian as a nobleman of the navy. Without Qin Tian, it would be impossible for the German navy to maintain its rapid development. Qin Tian also promised to provide a loan of 100 million marks to the navy every year. Once something happened to Qin Tian, the loan would naturally come to nothing. It's not clear yet. The hospital is undergoing rescue. Essen von Jonarit said. Let the hospital ensure the safety of Oscar. In addition, inform the Berlin Police Department and let them find a way to arrest the killer immediately. When did the law and order in Berlin become like this? If the current director can't do it well, I don't care. Do you mind changing someone else? William II looked angry. His own son was assassinated, and his life and death are still uncertain. Any father will probably be angry because of this. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonarit nodded. The imperial meeting ended prematurely. Afterwards, William II ordered the secret forces under the control of the royal family to also start investigating this matter. It was imperative to catch the killer and find out who was behind the scenes. William II made up his mind that no matter who did it, he would definitely make him pay the price. In the hospital, Qin Tian's operation has been completed, and the bullet has been taken out. The rest depends on whether Qin Tian can survive. After all, the current medical conditions are limited, and infections and complications are inevitable. If you are unlucky, you will probably die. However, Qin Tian is naturally not unlucky. After 2 days in a coma, he finally woke up. After the doctor examined Qin Tian again, he confirmed that Qin Tian had passed the danger of his life for the time being. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, The Emperor's Wrath. Oscar, my child, how are you feeling? Queen Victoria looked concerned. As Qin Tian's mother, she didn't like Qin Tian at first. Like William II, she loves her eldest son Crown Prince William more. However, as Qin Tian's performance became more and more outstanding, and he did not forget to give her some gifts from time to time, her impression of Qin Tian also changed greatly. Mother, I feel much better, but the wound still hurts, and I have no strength. Qin Tian's face was a little pale, which was the sequelae caused by excessive blood loss. After being shot, he bled a lot. Oscar, you are a man, you are good. Scars are medals on a man. How can a real man not have a few scars? William II said. It was already the second day after Qin Tian woke up, and William II and Queen Victoria came to see him. Their identities determined that they could not stay in the hospital all the time like the parents of ordinary people. Qin Tian smiled dryly and shook his head. Father, I hope that this scar was left on the battlefield, instead of suffering a despicable and shameless assassination like now. Qin Tian was also very angry when he was assassinated and almost lost his life. At this point, anyone facing such a situation will probably be angry. After waking up, Qin Tian was also secretly thinking about who sent the killer to assassinate him. After much deliberation, Crown Prince William was the most suspected. However, in the absence of evidence, he could not express his suspicions. Otherwise, if you doubt the Crown Prince, you will be gossiped. However, what happened this time also reminded Qin Tian that he must be cautious in the future. He is now worth hundreds of millions, and he is no longer an ordinary person. More and more people are being offended. I don't know how many people wanted his life. If you don't pay attention, you deserve to be assassinated and lose your life. Oscar, did you offend someone? Otherwise, how could they treat you like this? If you let me know who did it, I will never let him go. Queen Victoria looked angry. A trace of anger also flashed in William II's eyes. Obviously, he already knew what was going on. However, he did not intend to tell Qin Tian the truth. Although, this may be somewhat unfair to Qin Tian. However, for the stability of the empire and the peace of the royal family, he had to do this. Besides, even though he is the emperor, he is still a person after all. As long as you are human, you will have your own preferences and prejudices. For Crown Prince William, William II was indeed very disappointed. However, if he really made up his mind to replace Crown Prince William's succession to the throne, he still couldn't do it. After all, that is his carefully cultivated son, and he hopes that he can inherit the entire empire. If he gave up now, wouldn't that mean that his training methods over the years were all wrong? For William II, this was somewhat unacceptable. Oscar, you can rest at ease and recuperate. Let the people below do the work. Now, you just need to stay in the hospital obediently. When your condition stabilizes, we will take you back to the palace. William II said. Okay, father. However, I think the conditions here are good, so it's better to stay here. Qin Tian refused. So be it. William II did not insist. When William II and Queen Victoria left the ward, the smile on Qin Tian's face disappeared completely. From William II's reply just now, he guessed what was going on. Obviously, William II already knew who did it, but William II seemed to want to hide it. This undoubtedly shows that his guess is completely correct, and William II's choice undoubtedly made Qin Tian very disappointed. It seems that in such a situation, Crown Prince William is more important to him. Qin Tian murmured. After William II returned to the palace, He immediately summoned Essen von Jonerath. Essen, is there any definite evidence that all this was ordered by the Crown Prince? William II asked. Yes, Your Majesty. The killer has already confessed. He was sent by Grand Duke Friedrich Franz III of Mecklenburg-Schwerin to assassinate Prince Oscar. Essen von Jonerath said. King William II's face suddenly became gloomy, as if dripping water. Although Essen von Jonerath did not say so. But of course he knew what it meant. Friedrich Franz III, that is the father-in-law of Crown Prince William. He would send someone to assassinate Qin Tian, of course because Qin Tian's rise endangered the status of Crown Prince William. Although, William II had to admit that he did have the idea of replacing the Crown Prince because of Qin Tian's excellence. However, he has been indecisive. He never expected that Crown Prince William would attack Qin Tian because of this, which made him unacceptable. They are brothers. How did Prince become what he is now? William II was a little sad. Your Majesty, perhaps this was not the order of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, but maybe it was Lieutenant General Friedrich Franz III's decision. After all, Prince Oscar's performance is really outstanding. Friedrich Franz III was afraid that Prince Oscar would replace Crown Prince William, so he did such a thing. Essen von Jonerath said. It's just that his explanation is so far-fetched. William II also knew that Essen von Jonerath was just trying to comfort him. The actual situation is already very obvious. Essen sent someone to collect the illegal evidence of Friedrich Franz III. This time, I will replace the Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin with someone else. William II looked murderous. As an emperor, majesty is absolutely unchallenged. If you dare to assassinate his son, you have to be prepared for revenge. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonerath nodded. As for Crown Prince William, let him come to see me immediately. William II said. Okay, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonerath knew that William II probably planned to give Crown Prince William another chance this time. He couldn't help feeling a little pity in his heart. It would be great if William II could directly ask for the removal of Crown Prince William's right of succession and Qin Tian as Crown Prince. But it is a pity that William II still couldn't make this determination. Chapter 70, Bloody Throne. Father, what can you do for me? Crown Prince William smiled. After Qin Tian was assassinated, his mood improved a lot. Although, he was somewhat regretful that he was not able to kill Qin Tian in one fell swoop. But he believes that there will be opportunities in the future. After all, it is impossible for Qin Tian's luck to be so good all the time. As for the situation this time, he also believes that he will not be traced to him. After all, this was not directly ordered by him. Even if Friedrich Franz III was tracked down, he would not be confessed. Prince, do you know about Oscar? William II asked coldly. Father, I was also very sad when I heard the news of Oscar's assassination. That murderer is really abominable. He dared to assassinate an important member of the royal family. It is a heinous crime. Father can definitely sentence him to death to avenge Oscar. Crown Prince William looked bitter and bitter. Seeing such a situation, King William II couldn't help shaking his head. He knew that Crown Prince William didn't intend to admit it. Prince, do you know who is really behind the scenes? William II asked. The man behind the scenes? Who is it? Could it be Oscar's competitors? After all, Oscar owns many companies, and it is understandable that he would offend some competitors. Crown Prince William pretended to be stupid. Anyway, he made up his mind and would not admit that he ordered the assassination. He is not a fool. If a crown prince really did such a thing, according to the law, it is entirely possible to be removed from the succession to the throne. Everything that Crown Prince William did was to preserve his right to inherit the throne, which was undoubtedly the most important thing to him. Prince, according to what we have learned, the killer was sent by Friedrich Franz III. Do you have anything to say about this? William II asked. Crown Prince William's eyes suddenly flashed a flash of panic. He did not expect that in such a short period of time, he had already tracked down Friedrich Franz III. Doesn't this show that William II already knew the truth about the entire assassination? What should I do? The emperor already knows. What should I do? Should I confess to him? Then what will he think of me? Will my right to inherit the throne be lost? Crown Prince William became a little flustered. However, he then made up his mind that he would never admit it. Otherwise, the consequences will be unpredictable. Anyway, as long as he firmly insisted that he didn't know about this matter and then pushed everything to Friedrich Franz III, then there would be no problem. Father, could this be a misunderstanding? How could Grand Duke Franz III do such a thing? I think there must be some misunderstanding, Crown Prince William said. King William II looked at Crown Prince William and couldn't help but become a little disappointed. Prince, you really let me down. At this moment, are you still unwilling to admit it? The killer who assassinated Oscar was clearly instructed by you to Friedrich Franz III. William II looked angry. Father, no, I don't know about this. It has nothing to do with me. Crown Prince William immediately denied it. Suddenly, the atmosphere froze a bit. William II believed that Crown Prince William was behind the scenes, but Crown Prince William denied it. Although, William II knew that his guess was correct. If Friedrich Franz III was to be arrested and interrogated, he would definitely get the result he wanted. However, the whole world will know that it will cause trouble. This will undoubtedly make the German Empire and the Hohenzollern family the laughingstock of the world. And this is undoubtedly what William II did not want to see. After a while, William II said, Prince, it doesn't matter if you don't admit it. I think we all know what's going on. In order to maintain the image of the royal family and ensure the peace of Germany, I'm not going to pursue it any further. Hearing what William II said, Crown Prince William breathed a sigh of relief. He thought he had made the right bet. Starting tomorrow, you will move to the palace in Potsdam. Without my order, you must not leave there. William II continued. Crown Prince William suddenly felt a basin of cold water pouring down his head, freezing his heart. Father, are you going to put me under house arrest? No, you can't do this. You can't deprive me of my freedom. I'm the Crown Prince of the German Empire. Crown Prince William yelled. You should reflect on it there, and when I feel that you have truly reflected on it, I will let you return to Berlin. During this period, your position as Crown Prince will not be deprived, and no one will announce it to the outside world. William II said. No, father, you can't treat me like this. I'm your favorite son. Crown Prince William pleaded. However, William II was unmoved. This time, Crown Prince William really let him down. Essen, send His Highness the Crown Prince back. William II ordered with a cold face. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonnelet nodded. Immediately, 2 palace guards took Crown Prince William out of William II's office. During this period, Crown Prince William yelled like a rascal. But even this could not change William II's decision. When Qin Tian got the news in the hospital, he immediately felt much happier. It seemed that his wound didn't hurt so much anymore. Congratulations, Your Highness. Although Your Majesty has not abolished Crown Prince William's succession to the throne, this undoubtedly shows that His Majesty's patience has reached its limit. Karl von Jonnelet smiled. Qin Tian shook his head. This is not what I want. Because of this, I almost lost my life. If he were to exchange his own life for the right to inherit the throne, Qin Tian would not be willing. My life is gone. Even if I have the right to inherit, so what? However, what happened this time allowed Qin Tian to see clearly the bloodshed in the royal family. For the succession to the throne, brothers will also turn against each other because of this. Even, they will kill each other. Qin Tian, who was born in the East, has a deeper understanding of this. After all, among the royal families in the East, fighting for the throne was more **** than this. The throne is full of blood. If you are not ruthless, you will not be an emperor at all. This is the same regardless of the East and the West. Next time, I will never be ruthless or soft, and I will never let others point a gun at me. Qin Tian secretly made up his mind. Chapter 71, Aviation Pioneer. The assassination of Qin Tian seemed to have come to an end, because Crown Prince William was under house arrest, and no one mentioned it anymore, as if everyone had selectively forgotten about it. Of course, Qin Tian still stayed in the hospital. Gunshot wounds are not so easy to heal. It takes several months to heal. Otherwise, once an infection occurs, it's not fun. While staying in the hospital, Qin Tian did not forget to speed up his own industrial development. At the same time, there is research on emerging technologies. Your Highness, I have already made an appointment for you. Mr. Gustav Lilienthal will come to meet you tomorrow afternoon. In addition, the people we sent to the United States have already contacted the Wright brothers. We are very interested in the funding. However, I still have some hesitation about leaving the United States. Karl von Jonnereit said to Qin Tian. Now, Karl von Jonnereit is no longer the general manager of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company, but has become Qin Tian's secretary. Of course, his investment in the Deutsche Welfare Lottery still exists, and the profits of each period will be deposited into his bank account as usual. After owning a huge sum of money that ordinary people would not earn in 10 lifetimes, Karl von Jonnereit was no longer interested in running the Deutsche Welfare Lottery. Instead, he wanted to be a steward of the royal family, like his father, and made that his goal. The butler of the royal family, although the status is not high. However, the hidden power is very large. Even those important ministers of the empire have to be respectful. Karl von Jonnereit wanted to be that. Although the current crown prince is still prince, Karl von Jonnereit believes that it will definitely be Qin Tian who will eventually become the crown prince and inherit the entire empire. This is not only his opinion, but also that of his father Essen von Jonnereit, and even many important military and government officials believe that Crown Prince William has no future. Among the many princes, although Qin Tian's succession ranks at the bottom, his ability is the strongest. It will be the best choice for the German Empire to have him inherit the throne. Of course, what it will look like in the end is still unknown. But that doesn't stop them from betting ahead. Qin Tian nodded. Wright brothers, continue to contact them, and if necessary, further improve our favorable conditions. Try to persuade them to come to Germany next year to carry out their research. Yes, Your Highness. But, is their research really that important? Karl von Jonnereit was the first time he saw Qin Tian attach so much importance to an invention that had not yet succeeded. Their invention is very important. If it succeeds, it will change the whole world. No matter what, we must hold this invention in our hands. This is an important opportunity for the German Empire to surpass other countries. Qin Tian said with a face. Said seriously. The airplane invented by the Wright brothers changed the whole world dramatically. War, in particular, has become more three-dimensional because of this. In future wars, whoever claims to have mastery of the air will win the war. Although, in a short time, this may not show up. But with the passage of time and the advancement of technology, the importance of aircraft in warfare will become more and more important. Yes, Your Highness. Karl von Jonnereit nodded solemnly. He knew the importance from Qin Tian's expression and tone. Qin Tian hesitated for a while and then said, if they are still unwilling to come to Germany, I authorize you to use violent means. Even kill them. Karl von Jonnereit couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. He also had a feeling that Qin Tian had changed since the assassination. If Qin Tian was a gentle and non-aggressive person before, so now, he has become a gentleman with cruelty hidden on the surface, who will use all means to ensure his own interests. Mr. Gustav Lilienthal, you have to make arrangements. We also have to fully support his research. If the Wright brothers are willing to come to Germany, let them work in Gustav Lilienthal. Let's carry out research under Mr. Ehr's project. Qin Tian continued. Compared to the Wright brothers, Qin Tian is naturally more willing to trust Gustav Lilienthal, a German. Many people may be unfamiliar with Gustav Lilienthal. However, his elder brother Otto Lilienthal was famous. Otto Lilienthal is a German engineer and gliding pilot, one of the world's aviation pioneers. He was the first to design and manufacture a practical glider, known as the father of gliders. In the 3 years from 1893 to 1896, Lilienthal conducted more than 2,000 gliding flight tests, improved the overall layout 3 times, took many photos during the gliding, accumulated a large amount of data, and compiled the air pressure datasheet, which provided valuable information to aircraft manufacturers in the United States, Britain, France and other countries. In 1894, he controlled a glider to glide down a 50-meter high mountain slope, flew 350 meters, and reached 1,000 meters at the farthest time. Lilienthal's name spread like wildfire with the reports of the press, and spread all over the world. People gave him the nickname Batman. On August 9, 1896, Lilienthal took off from a hillside near Schulin, Germany with his glider. With a strong wind, he soared to a high altitude. Lilienthal was very excited, but he didn't know that the glider had reached the verge of stalling due to the high angle of attack. Just as he was trying to try a new method of control, the two-winged bat suddenly plunged headlong and fell to the ground. The glider crashed. Lilienthal was also fatally wounded, a fractured vertebrae. People rushed him to the hospital. On the way, the dying Lilienthal uttered his last words to his loyal collaborator and younger brother Gustav: "Someone has to sacrifice." A generation of batmen passed away peacefully at the age of 48. After Otto Lilienthal passed away, Gustav Lilienthal inherited his behest and continued to conduct research on flight. And Qin Tian also plans to fully support their research from now on. If you add the Wright brothers in the United States, Germany will be able to rank among the top in the world in this field. At that time, the research on aircraft in the military field will be carried out again, so that Germany can maintain the world's leading level in this field, and even play a greater role in future wars. Chapter 72, Give What You Want. Mr. Lilienthal, I'm sorry, I'm only allowed to see you here. In the ward, after seeing Gustav Lilienthal, Qin Tian immediately apologized to him. "Your Highness, it is my fault to disturb your recovery," Gustav Lilienthal said. After some pleasantries, their conversation got to the point. "Mr. Lilienthal, I'm very concerned about your research. At the same time, I also admire it very much. Your brother, Mr. Otto Lilienthal, I'm an admirable person. He is dedicated to the flight career, sacrificed his life." Qin Tian looked reverent. "Your Highness, if my brother knows what His Highness said, he will be very pleased." Gustav Lilienthal felt a little sad when he thought of his elder brother. "Mr. Lilienthal, the Wright brothers in the United States have developed the first aircraft a few years ago. What do you think of this?" Qin Tian asked. "Your Highness, the Wright brothers have indeed accomplished the feat of the first human being to go into space. Although, the time it took for them to take off for the first time was not long. However, with the follow-up research, the aircraft they developed took longer to go into space. It's getting longer and longer. I believe that their research will be successful," Gustav Lilienthal said. Qin Tian nodded. "It is precisely because of the research of countless aviation pioneers that the aviation industry of later generations will be brilliant. Even now, everything is still in the pioneering stage." However, Qin Tian knew that the final success was actually not far away. "Mr. Lilienthal, I don't know if you have thought about the application of aircraft in the military field," Qin Tian asked. "Military field?" Lilienthal frowned involuntarily. The current aircraft has only just solved the problem of flying. The time spent in the air is very short, the flying altitude is not high, and the speed is also very slow. Under such circumstances, it is undoubtedly too early to talk about the application in the military field. Yes, sir. Although the aircraft has only just appeared. However, I think it will be a weapon that will change the world. Future wars will change drastically because of this. Therefore, Germany in this regard, we must not lag behind other countries, and must even be at the leading level in the world. Only in this way, can our national security and interests be guaranteed," Qin Tian said with a serious face. Gustav Lilienthal immediately stood in awe. Although he didn't think so much at all, since Qin Tian attached so much importance to it. As a German, of course he has to work hard for the benefit of Germany, Your Highness. Although the Wright brothers are ahead in this regard, our technical reserves are no worse than theirs. If necessary, it is absolutely no problem to catch up with them. Gustav, Lilienthal promised. Qin Tian nodded. "I believe in your abilities. However, the performance of the current aircraft is still too bad. If it is to be applied to the military field, further research is needed. Think about it, the future battlefield, carrying a large number of bombs, hordes of planes attack the enemy from the air, drop the bombs on the enemy's head, and tear the enemy into pieces. In order to protect the country's airspace, countless fighter planes are fighting in the air, and machine guns are strafing." The machine gun roared. "What an exciting scene." Indeed, Gustav Lilienthal was already excited by the blueprint for the future that Qin Tian had drawn. their research on aircraft is still in its infancy, and they never thought that it would have such a big application in the military field. Mr. Lilienthal, if you have no objection, then let me support your research from now on. All the funds, all equipment and other aspects needed for your research will be provided by me. Regarding this, I only have one request, and that is that your research projects must be carried out according to my requirements. Qin Tian said. Gustav Lilienthal hesitated for a moment, but finally nodded. He knew that, if he agreed to Qin Tian's request, then their research would probably change to the military field that Qin Tian requested. However, as a German, how could he refuse Qin Tian's request? Besides, because of lack of funds, their research has indeed fallen into trouble. Without Qin Tian's support, their life would be a problem, let alone carry out further research. Your Highness, I accept your proposal. For the strength of the German Empire, we are willing to contribute our strength. Gustav Lilienthal said. Mr. Lilienthal, then I hope we can cooperate happily. Qin Tian's face was full of smiles. Gustav Lilienthal was able to accept his proposal, which was undoubtedly the best result. He had been worried that these people who were engaged in scientific research would have abnormal brains and were unwilling to be restricted. In that case, there is no guarantee that he can only take some drastic measures in order to succeed in the plan. It's just that, in that case, the work efficiency will definitely be greatly affected, which is not what Qin Tian wants. It would be great if Gustav Lilienthal and the others could take the initiative to cooperate. Happy cooperation. Gustav Lilienthal also said. Mr. Lilienthal, when developing an aircraft, the engine is the most important thing. It is the heart of the aircraft. Only with a good engine can the aircraft fly higher and faster, and at the same time, the load capacity of the aircraft can also be increased. Dutch engine manufacturing company is improving aero engines on the basis of automobile engines. Judging from the current situation, a major breakthrough has been made. I'm nervous. In the next step, I will ask them to fully cooperate with you. In this case, can provide you with more support. Qin Tian said. Okay, Your Royal Highness. If the engine problem can be solved, then our development will go more smoothly. Gustav Lilienthal nodded. I hope that within 3 years, you can develop an aircraft with a flying speed of more than 100 km per hour, a practical ceiling of more than 2,000 meters, a pilot, an aviation machine gun, and a range of more than 200 kilometers. If this is the case, it won't be too far to go into actual combat. Qin Tian said. The key data listed by Qin Tian is undoubtedly a great challenge for Gustav Lilienthal. But he believes that, as long as the support is in place, it can definitely be achieved. Chapter 73, Unexpected Chance. With our own financial support, coupled with the wisdom of Gustav Lilienthal and others, Germany should be able to reach the forefront of the world in the field of military aircraft. Qin Tian secretly thought. In another time and space, the Fokker fighter jets of the Luftwaffe were known as the Widowmakers. Shot down by the Luftwaffe. Qin Tian hopes that in this time and space, with his support, Germany can pay more attention to the Air Force and develop and equip a more advanced Air Force so that it can further occupy a greater advantage in future air battles. I don't know if the Wright brothers will agree to our invitation. If they continue to refuse, there is no other way but to make them disappear. A ruthless look flashed in Qin Tian's eyes. After an assassination that survived a catastrophe, Qin Tian's character became ruthless. In order to achieve their goals, they will do whatever they can. Because only in this way can one be able to save one's own life and guarantee one's own interests in such a troubled world. As the pioneers of aviation development, the Wright brothers have had a huge impact on the development of the aviation industry in the United States and the entire world. If they can work for Qin Tian, this will surely allow Germany's aviation industry to achieve faster development. At the same time, for other countries, it is also a great weakening, further widening the gap between the two sides. In order to strengthen Germany's military strength, Qin Tian has gone to great lengths. If under such circumstances, Germany has not been able to win the war in the future, it would be too unreasonable. When he was bored in the hospital, Qin Tian would occasionally imagine his future. As an ordinary prince, he has worked hard for the fate of Germany. If he is the Prince of Germany, there is nothing wrong with doing so. But it is a pity that Crown Prince William is now under house arrest, but the position of Crown Prince is still very stable. William II didn't he seem to have the slightest idea of replacing the Crown Prince. Should we take action and kill Crown Prince William? Since he can send someone to assassinate me, why can't I retaliate? Qin Tian secretly thought. Being assassinated by Crown Prince William, he was shot in the stomach. Although his life was not endangered, Qin Tian still felt very aggrieved. The so-called people don't offend me, I don't offend others. Others have bullied me, so there is no reason not to fight back. But then, Qin Tian denied this idea. William II would never allow such a thing to happen. If he really dared to send someone to assassinate Crown Prince William, William II would deal with him immediately. For example, stripping him of his status as a prince and confiscating all his properties. There is no doubt, even though they are all sons of William II. But the status of Crown Prince William is obviously higher than that of Qin Tian. What's more, William II, even the emperor, was also jealous of Qin Tian's creation of so much wealth in just 2 years. Qin Tian made a move on Crown Prince William, which was equivalent to giving William II a chance to do it. After all, a huge amount of wealth is in the hands of his son, rather than in his own hands. Sigh, I can only wait and see what happens now. Apart from this, there is no other way. Qin Tian couldn't help but sighed. While Qin Tian was recuperating in the hospital, Crown Prince William was furious in a farm outside Potsdam. Damn it, why wasn't Oscar killed on the spot? What was the kill for? Why is his mouth so soft? He betrayed us so easily. Crown Prince William cursed loudly with red eyes. It has been a long time since he was imprisoned in this farm. At the beginning, Crown Prince William didn't take this to heart at all, thinking that William II was just putting on a show to give Qin Tian an explanation and he would be released soon. However, now he understood that William II was clearly serious, which immediately made Crown Prince William panic. He also thought about forcibly breaking out, but the people guarding the farm were all confidants of William II. Except for the orders of William II, the orders of others were ignored at all. It is simply impossible for Crown Prince William to forcibly leave the farm. With no way to go out, Crown Prince William's temper became even more explosive, and drinking and insulting others became commonplace. The performance of Crown Prince William in the farm made William II even more disappointed. Originally, he wanted to let Crown Prince William reflect on his mistakes in the farm, but he did not expect that Crown Prince William had clearly chosen to give up on himself. How can such a person become the Crown Prince of Germany and inherit the German Empire? As a result, Crown Prince William was locked up in the farm and lived an isolated life. Fortunately, this farm has a large area and everything to eat and play is readily available. Even if you spend your whole life here, it is not impossible. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, Queen Victoria wanted Crown Prince William to return to the palace to attend a party. However, William II rejected Queen Victoria's request because he was dissatisfied with Crown Prince William's performance in the farm. And after this news reached the ears of Crown Prince William, it made him even more dissatisfied and angry. My father, why is he so cruel? Is he really planning to abolish my crown prince? Crown Prince William roared angrily. He has always been the focus of everyone's eyes. But now, he was about to lose his crown prince position. Of course, he couldn't accept such a huge contrast. After getting drunk, Crown Prince William rode on a horse and ran wildly in the farm, regardless of whether the crops would be trampled. He just wanted to vent his anger and dissatisfaction in this way. And the people in the farm didn't dare to say anything about it. They all know that the current Crown Prince William is in a rage. Once he gets anxious, it is very likely that he will get into trouble. The current farm has already snowed, and the ground is covered with a thick layer of snow. It is undoubtedly very dangerous for Crown Prince William to ride a horse under such circumstances. However, he, who was already drunk, didn't care so much at all. Suddenly, the horse's front hoof stepped into a snow pit, and after losing its balance, the horse fell down suddenly. Crown Prince William, who was riding on horseback, was immediately thrown out. Unfortunately, there was a snow-covered stone on the ground, and the back of Crown Prince William's head happened to hit the stone. Chapter 74, Pie in the Sky. His Royal Highness, Your Royal Highness, wake up. God, what should I do? His Royal Highness is in a coma. Idiot. Send His Highness the Crown Prince to the hospital immediately. Then report what happened here to His Majesty the Emperor. A group of farm guards were in a hurry and sent Crown Prince William out of the farm and sent to the hospital for treatment. At the same time, he quickly reported the situation here to William II. During such a panic, it is undoubtedly very difficult to keep a secret. Crown Prince William fell off his horse and is still in a coma. The news was immediately known by the entire upper class in Germany at lightning speed. Everyone knows that if Crown Prince William is too seriously injured and remains unconscious or even dies, it will have a huge impact on Germany's power structure. Perhaps a new Crown Prince is about to be born. If Crown Prince William remains unconscious, it may be a good thing for the German Empire. Marshal Count Tirpitz blurted out this sentence after hearing the news. After that, he asked someone to prepare the car and rushed to the hospital. When something like this happened, he needed to meet with Qin Tian to discuss the next countermeasures. The chief of the German General Staff, Maoki, was even more frightened when he heard the news. You know, the relationship between him and Crown Prince William has always been very close. Even the outside world regards him as Crown Prince William. After Crown Prince William was placed under house arrest by William II, his status was challenged. Minister of War von Falkenhayn has always wanted to take over his position as Chief of the General Staff. Damn it, how did this happen? Is this an accident, or was it planned? Little Maoki said through gritted teeth. Once something happened to Crown Prince William, or if he was replaced, it would undoubtedly be a huge blow to him. When Qin Tian received the news, he was lying on the hospital bed. After 2 months of recovery, his injury has healed a lot. The wound has already healed. If it wasn't for the faint pain in his stomach, he would have been discharged from the hospital long ago. Of course, staying in the hospital is also safer, not only because of the complete medical conditions here. At the same time, William II also deliberately strengthened the defense here to avoid another assassination. Your Highness, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince fell off his horse. He is still unconscious and is being rescued. It may be life-threatening. Karl von Jonnelet rushed into Qin Tian's ward with a happy face and told him. What? When did this happen? Is the news true? Qin Tian turned over from the bed all of a sudden, with a very complicated expression on his face. There is excitement, and there is also the relief of getting avenged, but at the same time, there is still a trace of doubt. Your Highness, this just happened. Although the news has not been confirmed, it should be true. Cole was very excited. Although Qin Tian's succession to the throne is relatively low, there are always exceptions. With Qin Tian's performance, if he can get the support of the military again, then he has a great possibility to sit on the throne of the Crown Prince. But Qin Tian was not delighted by this, but even more confused. Don't rush to make a decision now. This matter is too suspicious. Today is Christmas Eve. I stayed in the hospital and did not return to the palace, so that's all. When such a thing happened, I suspect that he did it on purpose. The purpose is to win His Majesty's sympathy, so that His Majesty can withdraw his order and release him from the farm. What? Will Crown Prince William really do this? Carol couldn't believe it. Carl, we have to make these plans. For the throne, Prince can do anything. Qin Tian said. Carl nodded. Your Highness, then I will go to inquire about the news and try to get the exact news. Qin Tian nodded. After Carol left, Qin Tian was no longer sleepy at all. It is a lie to say that you are not moved. After Crown Prince William's accident, the possibility of him becoming the Crown Prince of the Empire is undoubtedly great. Although, there are still a few older brothers ahead of him. But those guys are always waiting to die. He had been covered by the brilliance of Crown Prince William before, acting mediocre, with nothing but a prominent identity and a glamorous appearance. After Qin Tian successfully rose up, their performance became even more unbearable, and they were almost on the verge of being ignored. No one thinks of them at all except the royal family. So, if Crown Prince William falls, then, the possibility of Qin Tian inheriting the throne will increase a lot. Could it be? Is this the benefit of the time traveler? It's really great that such a great thing can happen. Qin Tian couldn't help laughing. Originally, he thought that he was completely out of luck with the throne. But in order to ensure his own interests and wealth, he tried his best to strengthen Germany's military power. However, now there is actually one more chance to be crown prince, which makes him more confident about the future. If he could become the crown prince of the empire, then he would have more reason and responsibility to help the empire win the war. In addition, Crown Prince William fell off his horse, which has never happened in another time and space. This made Qin Tian feel a little vigilant. That is, the current history is gradually different from what he is familiar with. Therefore, he can no longer see the future with the previous thinking. While Qin Tian was full of confidence in his future, William II was furious in the palace. What's going on? Why did such a thing happen? How did Prince fall off his horse for no reason? Did someone deliberately murder? William II's face was so gloomy that he could drip water. When these words were uttered, it was extremely cold, as if the temperature in the hall had dropped a lot because of it. Your Majesty, after learning that His Highness the Crown Prince could not return to the palace, he was in a very bad mood and began to drink heavily. After getting drunk, he insisted on riding a horse, regardless of our obstruction. This is why the accident happened. Although, it cannot be ruled out that someone deliberately the possibility of murder, but this possibility is very small. A head of the royal secret force responsible for guarding the farm reported sweating profusely. Trash. Prince is looking for death. Are you all fools? Can't you forcefully stop him? William II was furious. But the head of the secret army guarding the farm had no choice but to lower his head and let William II vent his anger without daring to argue at all. Chapter 75. The Emperor's Hesitation. Essen, check it out. Is there anyone with ulterior motives involved in the fall of Prince's horse? Once it is found out that someone planned it, no matter who it is, I will definitely not let it go. William II King had a murderous look on his face. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonnerlet nodded. He knew that William II was really angry this time. Two princes had accidents one after another, and one was a prince, which made him very annoyed. Regardless, Essen von Jonnerlet also knows that most of what happened this time was an accident. With the character of Crown Prince William, it is entirely possible to talk about riding a horse after drinking. In addition, notify the royal hospital and try our best to rescue Prince. As long as it is possible, we must do our best. May God bless Prince, and he can get through this time safely. William II sighed. In his heart, there is also some self-blame. If he hadn't rejected Queen Victoria's request, Crown Prince William might not have been riding a horse after drinking alcohol, and such a thing would not have happened. After all, no matter how many things were wrong with Crown Prince William, he was still his son. And he has always been the most beloved eldest son. Okay, Your Majesty. The royal hospital will definitely do their best, Essen von Jonnerlet said. King William II nodded. He had already done what he could do. Now that things had happened, it was useless to blame others. The only thing he can do now is to pray to God. Pray that Crown Prince William will be safe and sound this time. Although William II is very dissatisfied with Crown Prince William's recent performance, but the so-called tiger's poison does not eat its child. Not to mention that William II has always had high expectations for Crown Prince William. It's just that recently I have become a little bit hated that iron can't be made into steel. It is undoubtedly very difficult for other people to replace Crown Prince William's position in William II's mind. After Essen von Jonnerlet left, William II fell into deep thought. As the Emperor of the Empire, he must consider the overall situation. Although, he hopes that Crown Prince William will be safe and sound. However, he had to prepare for the worst. Once Crown Prince William can no longer fulfill the obligations of the Crown Prince, he will have to consider replacing the Crown Prince. After all, the hegemony of the Empire is the most important thing. Everything else must be put aside. Although, because of the poor performance of Crown Prince William, William II had the idea of changing the Crown Prince. However, after struggling many times, I still haven't really made up my mind. This undoubtedly shows that he still has a glimmer of hope in his heart, hoping that Crown Prince William can change his mind and become a competent Crown Prince who satisfies him again. It's just that I didn't expect such a thing to happen at this time. If the Crown Prince needs to be replaced, who is the right candidate? Is it Ertl, Adalbert, August, or Oscar? The names flashed through William II's mind one by one. It's just that the first three sons are a little too incompetent. Compared with Qin Tian, it was completely covered up. Under such circumstances, it seems obvious who is the most suitable candidate. However, William II had his own considerations. In his opinion, Qin Tian is indeed very good. Even being good is a bit too monstrous. Not only has he accumulated wealth in a very short period of time that most people would never earn in his lifetime, but he also has a forward-looking vision far beyond that of professional designers in terms of warship design. He also has a very deep understanding of the international situation. The relationship with the military is also very close. King William II had to admit that in many respects, Qin Tian was even better than him. As a father, Wilhelm II should feel good about it. However, as an emperor, he had to be on guard because of this. After all, the emperor's greatest charm probably lies in his supreme power. Naturally, he would not want to share such power with others, even if the other party was his own son. In addition, William II was also worried about whether Qin Tian played some dishonorable role in the matter of Crown Prince William's fall from the horse. After all, Crown Prince William had directly sent someone to assassinate Qin Tian before, which almost cost him his life. If Qin Tian retaliates against Crown Prince William because of this, it can also be intercepted. However, this could not be accepted by William II. As an emperor and a father, he did not want his sons to have conflicts for the throne. I hope this matter really has nothing to do with Oscar. Otherwise, he will disappoint me too much. William II sighed. If Crown Prince William fell off his horse, it was really Qin Tian who did it. Then, no matter how good Qin Tian performed, William II would not hand over the empire to Qin Tian. Royal Hospital, Qin Tian's ward, Count, and Marshal Tirpitz appeared here again. Your Excellency Marshal, if you appear in my ward at this time, if people with ulterior motives find out, it may have a bad influence. Qin Tian said with a smile. Highness, you know, I don't care about it at all. Who in the whole empire doesn't know the relationship between the Navy and His Royal Highness? Under such circumstances, if you deliberately avoid suspicion, it will make people think that there is a ghost in it. Marshal Earl Tirpitz said nonchalantly. Indeed, as the founder of the German Imperial Navy, and one of William II's most trusted courtiers, Marshal Count Tirpitz didn't have to worry about those rumors at all. Your Excellency Marshal, at this time, it's better to be careful. Qin Tian shook his head. Your Highness, I just got a warning. The rescue of Crown Prince William is still going on. However, the situation is very pessimistic. Even if I can save my life, I'm afraid that I will not be able to fulfill the responsibility of Crown Prince. I think your Highness must just be prepared. This is definitely a rare opportunity. Marshal Earl Tirpitz suggested. Your Majesty Marshal, I know your kindness. However, I have already done what should be done. Now, it depends on your Majesty's choice. Qin Tian sighed. Indeed, what he can do has already been done. He had performed so outstandingly before. If William II was still unwilling to establish him as the Crown Prince because of this, then no matter how much he did, it would be of no use at all. If he is very positive about the position of Crown Prince now, it may be counterproductive. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded. I believe that His Majesty is a wise monarch, and he will make the right choice. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.